All right, we're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil.
That would make me
Neil with
terrible,
appeal
Troy.
tonight, actually. Sorry.
Oh,
Say that again, Troy.
that would make me terrible, Troy.
Okay.
And this is Annabelle Lecter.
And we're joined by criminal psychologist Dr. John Brady. It's good to have you here.
Hey, it's good to be here with you guys. Thank you.
I'm super excited. This is not a normal kind of guest we would have, but
So
I'm thrilled to have you here.
I'm abnormal, or
Hey,
Good abnormal.
the way we like 'em.
You're in good company. Good abnormal.
remember Young Frankenstein with abnormal?
Exactly. Yeah. I love that movie. And it was, it's just a great film.
Yeah.
Who's the character says abnormal, Troy? The actor.
Oh, Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman, yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess actually before we start, even though I think people probably have an idea, could you explain what a criminal psychologist is?
Okay, absolutely. So for 40 years, I've been in private practice as a licensed forensic psychologist doctor in California, also as a criminologist. So I've been called upon to analyze criminal cases as to the mental state of the people that committed the crime. In some cases, whether or not they were insane at the time of the crime or whether their responsibility was diminished when they committed a particular crime, or whether, in fact, when I worked for the prosecution, whether they were faking criminal insanity and they were actually sane at the time of the crime. So I've worked on both sides of the aisle for the prosecution, but mostly for defense attorneys over a 40-year period of time. I got into this because when I was at Berkeley in the School of Criminology, my major professor and my mentor was Bernard Diamond. Bernard Diamond was the lead chief psychiatrist on the Sirhan case, Sirhan Bishara Sirhan, that killed Robert Kennedy. So that's in the previous book that I wrote in 2024, which is an analysis of why Sirhan killed Robert Kennedy and what led up to that particular crime. So if you jump forward, actually at that time, then I didn't specifically work on the case because I was just a student at the time under the tutelage of Dr. Diamond. So, but I learned quite a bit about the case. And as time went on and there were more questions about what happened to Sirhan, I decided to write a book about it. And that's what I did in 2024, which is, Johnny, can you turn that off? So I decided to write a book about it in my experiences and my diagnoses of why Sirhan killed Robert Kennedy. In the upcoming book, which is a comparison of Lee Harvey Oswald and Sirhan, I compare the two criminal patterns of these two killers to show that they had more similarities than they did criminal dissimilarities in their makeup that drove them to murder the Kennedy brothers. And then I'm just sorry. In that book, there is a section on Luigi Mangione, and I compare his behavior to Ted Kaczynski's behavior, the famous Unabomber. So that's how I got to where we are.
Yeah. And, now, recently there's been, some JFK stuff declassified. I don't know if you had a chance to read that and if you think it really brought anything new to the discussion.
Well, I think anything is going to be, elucidating. It's going to help us clarify certain missing pieces of the puzzle, which over time it kind of remained scattered around, and we didn't know if they were covered up by the CIA, by the FBI, by the government, by the mafia, the Teamsters. Who knows? There's been so many theories. What I emphasize in both of my books, the most recent one on Oswald and Sirhan, are the psychiatric aspects of these guys' behavior and what led them to have guns and shoot the Kennedy brothers. Now, if there was more than one shooter or three shooters on the grassy, there's so many books Neil, on this subject. I mean, you could line my library with these books. However, there's not too many psychiatric books that go to the mental components of these two killers or of other killers, such as Luigi Mangione.
I think a lot of assumptions get made by the public. And a lot of times they're just not correct. I feel like it's so fascinating to know more about these people and to be able to present it so people honestly understand mental health better. Because there's a lot of times where people will just do these generalizations of this equals this equals killer. And mental health, more recently, I think this is becoming, well, I don't know. I guess the like psycho phrase has been out there for a long time. We go back to Anthony Perkins or before that.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? The idea of making that connection to the public so they have a better understanding of here's a mental health problem.
Yeah, I think I mean, that's a real critical area to clarify, especially with somebody like Mangione. Obviously, Mangione's in the news. He was red hot in the news up through the end of December of last year. His current attorney is a brilliant New York defense attorney. She's put a lid on everything. But there's been a lot of speculation, information, mostly conjecture from non-professional people who have their own theories of why this guy did that. By the way, I'd like to say that, your expose of Mangione is probably one of the first podcasts that really got into the psychiatric and psychological and criminal aspects of this guy's behavior. Everybody else has dealt with, like Harvey Levin's dealt with the background of Mangione, and TMZ does a great job with their show. They have a lot of money to spend. They track his behavior. They follow him to Thailand, where he's at a gun range. It's all very interesting. Harvey Levin is a first-class journalist and reporter, and he's been so for 30 years. But the missing link then is the psychiatric aspect of Luigi Mangione. Why did he commit this particular crime? What drove him to that precipice where he decided that lawfulness was no longer necessary and he wanted to become an outlaw? So that's what I try to address in the book, and that's why I think your podcast is really important for exposing at least the theoretical terms of why this guy went south on us.
Is this an American thing? When the people in America really are fascinated with the outlaw. I think going back, there's all kinds of movies, a story about Billy the Kid, and it's still around today. Is that an American thing, or do you think that's just people's nature?
No, I think there is a specific kind of a cult-like attraction to the anti-hero, to the outlaw in society. As a matter of fact, with Mangione and other people like him, for example, Ted Kaczynski was Mangione's hero. But I think more than that, there is this identification with the anti-hero, and that's evidenced by Mangione collecting $500,000, excuse me, in his defense fund with the hashtags concerning their affinity and their endorsement for what Mangione did. So there's a part of society that wants to be empathic towards the outlaw, as you say. Is it an American thing? Yeah, I think it's probably, as far as I know, sociologically or culturally, it's an American thing where people identify with the outlaw. As a matter of fact, there's a psychological term that's kind of a long term, but it's called hybristophilia. Hybristophilia, maybe you've heard of it, Neil?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so that's it's a paraphilia. It's not pedophilia, because that's, having sex with minors, that sort of thing. But this is a paraphilia, which makes people identify with the criminal element in society, mostly women who become connected vicariously with these criminals. They want to marry them. They send them nude pictures of themselves when they're in jail. This was particularly relevant. In my book, I analyzed the Hillside Strangler case, and Kenneth Bianchi, who was one of the Hillside Stranglers, was more or less stalked by this would-be Hollywood hooker, S&M queen of Hollywood Boulevard, who fell in love with him in jail. When he was in jail for murdering 10 people in Los Angeles, the Hillside Strangler, right?
Mm-hmm.
She goes to jail to visit him. They fall in love. He convinces her to commit another murder.
Wow.
So it's her hybristophilia attachment to him that allows him to have her conduct his fantasy of killing another woman. So it is an American thing. It is psychological. Excuse me. And for me, it's kind of fun or intriguing, I should say, to analyze why these people do these things, which led me to the Mangione case, where there is, to my knowledge, there is no true psychiatric understanding of why this guy surrendered his previous lawful identity, suddenly becomes this person infused with this hostility and anger against society, and then shoots Brian Thompson in the back.
What did you see as the parallels between this case and Kaczynski?
Good question. Have you read about that connection?
I have not.
Okay. Kaczynski was his hero. Okay, so for 17 years, Kaczynski reigned as the Unabomber who had a lot of similarities to Mangione. Extremely bright, entered Harvard when he was 16 years old, became a professor when I was at Berkeley when he was like 23, full professor, just crazy, crazy intelligent. Mangione, valedictorian of high school class, A student, Ivy League schools, brilliant. His hero becomes Kaczynski. So he reads Kaczynski's manifesto, which is 35,000 words, and he adapts Kaczynski's ideology. So in the book, there's a whole section on ideology tourism, where some of these people look for an ideology to explain their behavior or to explain why they're dissatisfied with parts of society. Mangione reads Kaczynski's manifesto, absorbs it, comments on it on book reads, and says that this is more than just a Luddite who recommends revolution. This guy's on the right track, in other words. Obviously, Kaczynski was on the wrong track.
Yeah.
But Mangione says he was on the right track. He identifies with him. And then in his own manifesto, which is only 162 words, Mangione says, revolution is the way to go. Parasites in society, like Thompson, deserve to be whacked. And that's exactly what he did. So Mangione, like Kaczynski, Mangione became this zealot, religious kind of devoted figure that he could change society. He could right all the wrongs, particularly of a capitalistic society, where by offing this guy, that he would rebalance the medical insurance payment systems for the United States or whatever. convoluted, crazy thinking. But this is what he inherited from Kaczynski, who said that all of society is going to be misshapen in the future because of the computer people, because of the future people. So the people that he bombed were the professors, the computer scientists, computer people, computer store people, whatever. Anybody who he saw as threatening the future. Then Kaczynski is influenced by H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. H.G. Wells is time traveler, goes to the future, and he sees. Kaczynski thinks that he sees what Kaczynski sees: a society that is dumbed down by people controlled by the power elite structure that have no say in what they do, and they're reduced to being thrust into a communist kind of state. Kaczynski puts this out. Mangione says this must be true. Mangione loses his identity in Kaczynski's philosophy that echoes his own philosophy.
And what do you think about Kaczynski? And because it wouldn't just be one person. He could damage more than one person at a time. Whereas Luigi picked a target. He picked one person specifically and not potentially damage other people around him.
That's right. They both, the commonality, Annabelle, is that they both targeted a system.
Mm-hmm.
Kaczynski targeted the modern system of technology. Mangione attacked the pharmaceutical system, where he thought that the power elite, the structure of the power elite, was taking advantage of the poor people. So he was kind of like a Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
His thinking became so convoluted, almost in a delusional psychological sense, that like Kaczynski, he saw himself as a savior, saving the country from one capitalistic area, which was healthcare, pharmaceutical care. So he stalked Brian Thompson. He went to New York about the 26th of November, and the murder was on December 5th. So he stalked him. He knew his moves. He knew he was going to make this speech. He put together the gun and he shot him. Mm-hmm. So his goal was to take down the system, which was suggested by Kaczynski, that he justified revolution kind of in a Machiavellian sense, that his ends would justify the means. And now he's got all these people contributing money to this guy who's being tried for first-degree murder, which is hybristophilia.
I'm wondering, because seeing in my own community online is people are damaged by the healthcare system. It is there's all kinds of lawsuits and everything. There's a predatory system, and that people do feel that this guy stood up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's about him. I'm sure there are people that are all, like you were saying about women being attracted. And I'm also wondering
this is much more I think it's a more mainstream love for the guy or understanding of him, than just a couple, some of the people you mentioned before was people that had like a very small number of people that would be, really obsessed with them. But Luigi is pretty mainstream, the people that support him.
Well, there's the internet too. We have the access to information that no one would have had at that time. So I think here's this guy, it happens and it's all over the internet. Suddenly the vast majority of people in the world knows who this man is. So I think it's a little, if there was internet when Kaczynski was around, would it have had the similar impact? Would he have then been representing this kind of mass unrest and feelings of disempowerment? I'm kind of curious about what would have happened if the internet and social media was around then. Maybe it would have had a similar impact of kind of
Sure.
How it
going,
impacted Luigi.
you know,
Sure.
I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a social contagion where you're going to have a certain percentage of society that feels disenfranchised and alienated. So they're going to pick their target. It might be the gas company, it might be the power company, it might be an oil company, it might be combustible engines, or guess what? Pharmaceutical care,
Mhm.
or it might be medical care. So I guess the number one reason for bankruptcy right now is that people can't pay their medical bills.
Yeah.
So this becomes an epidemic of people who feel cut off, disenfranchised from society. Because Kaczynski takes his model and he extends it to all of society into the capitalistic system.
Mhm.
Mangione picks up on these threads of anti-capitalism and pro-neo-Marxism and says that something's wrong here. We got to take down the system, and he recommends revolution. So he endorses, he goes beyond just the aspect of taking down United Healthcare. He recommends a complete transformation of society. In doing this, he loses his own identity. He becomes this is in my view, he becomes a different person that's transformed from the law-abiding Luigi Mangione to the skillful stalker who is convinced that what he's doing is right, whereas in society, it's wrong to shoot somebody. There's other ways to redress your grievances if you don't like your healthcare provider. So Thompson stood in the way of that as being the CEO of the largest healthcare provider in the country. United is the biggest. It could have been the president of Kaiser Permanente or Blue Cross Blue Shield. Could have been anybody, but he picked the number one provider of healthcare. In his mind, was also the one that was the largest usurper of lower class or middle class people's incomes, because he said they steal their incomes. Robin Hood, the United Healthcare steals their money, then they won't pay claims. So on his bullets, he writes deny, depose, and delay on 3 of the bullet casings, which is direct reference to the healthcare plan, which they deny claims, they delay payment of claims, and then they depose you if you file a lawsuit. So his general approach to society is one where he recommends revolution. He's obviously a neo-Marxist that wants to control society. He has a whole group of people, and Annabelle, I agree with you. The internet spreads this thing like wildfire, and everybody says, "Hey, that happened to Uncle Harry." My dad. He went into
Everyone can relate to.
Everybody can relate to it, so it becomes sort of a generalized grievance pattern where can you take this so far that you can rationalize doing irrational behaviors as actually doing something good for society?
It's really curious. I'm not thinking like, hey, let's all jump on that boat, and thinking about revolution does end up happening. And at what point is that? I'm not saying it is, but at what point does that become justified?
Well, I guess when if you're neo-Marxist and you see society as being controlled by the top, from the top down by the power elite, old C. Wright Mills is information out of the 1950s, that the power elite controls everybody and the little guy has nothing. Therefore, if you're Mangione, what you're really interested in is a redistribution of the capital in society. And one way to do that is to take down these guys and make sure that they're not stealing from the poor to give to the rich. That's kind of the mindset that he had, and that the mainsprings of that, of course, comes from Kaczynski and people like that. So there's lots of people on the internet that say, I got screwed by this car dealer. This guy did me wrong. My healthcare plan is no good. I tried to sue this guy and that didn't work. So they kind of run out of justifications or avenues of appeal, and they take these situations into their own hands, and then they become, an anti-hero.
And I think it's really interesting because it is when you talk about this switch being flipped for him, because I don't like a lot of these things. I have my own grievances with all of this stuff. I'm not going out to shoot someone.
Tell us your grievances.
No. Oh, I mean, the healthcare thing is terrible. There's a lot of dark things out there. The healthcare one is definitely really. I work in community mental health, so I see a lot of things that are not great. But I'm not going to murder someone because I see systemic.
No, I don't want you to. Yeah.
No. I think there are a lot of people that have this systemic problems and feeling like, like the idea of I feel like in some ways there's a shift of why people are motivated towards, like, someone hates someone because they're this politics and someone because of this politics. And it feels like this is more like a class related thing. I
was going to bring that up because I watch a lot of new stuff online, not just my preference, but I like to know what other people think. And so I noticed a lot of the right-wing people, I'll use Ben Shapiro, for example, was very much saying it was split between the left and the right, that the left was pro Luigi and the right isn't. But then I would see the comments in from his own fans, and they vehemently disagreed with him. And a lot of them were, even though they were very right wing, they were actually pro Luigi. And I think it's not right and left. It's definitely it's class, as Annabelle was saying. It's the different classes can, even if they're not necessarily pro Luigi, they can understand it and relate to it, and at least like I understand why this guy did this.
So at least you could slow down your hearing enough to understand what Ben Shapiro says.
He's like the Micro Machines guy from the old commercials.
You're just so right. I never thought of that. That's so true.
Rapid talk. It's pretty fast. Well, I think you can look at this as a political situation, which goes right back to what's the source of the political discontent. And it is a strife between the left and the right, where the left thinks that if you have a revolution, you have redistribution of the wealth, and everybody will be equal. The right extremists say that democracy has proceeded since the Greek times and has worked pretty well to create wealth in the country. However, there are certain people at the top that control the people at the bottom. People at the bottom, the French Revolution shows us that they at some point rebel and they take down the top of the hierarchy. My goal for 40 years has been to analyze kind of individualistic approaches to why people commit particular crimes. The interesting thing that I found out is, Annabelle, this might be of interest to you, is that a great percentage of the people, especially the murderers who I've analyzed, have no clue why they did the crime. So there's an unconscious reservoir of information which is on tap that they can't identify with. That I woke up one day and I thought that that Robert Kennedy ought to die. This is what Sirhan faced when he entered in his diary that RFK must die. So he has an unconscious wish to eliminate somebody that he sees as his enemy, which could be labeled as paranoid schizophrenia or as an alternative personality, which he was diagnosed with a multiple personality disassociated state at the time, which was 55 years ago. So these people drift in and out of these psychological states, and they don't really know why they did it. Now, Mangione claims in his own manifesto, he leaves some inculpatory statements in there where he says this is what he wanted to happen. He wanted to whack Brian Thompson.
I got to get you something.
that's not too good if you're the defense.
Information. I'm just curious, where did you get that? Because I have something interesting to share with you.
No, I want you, probably the New York Times or one of the reporters that found the manifesto that where he said that people like Thompson are parasitic and they deserve to be whacked and taken out of society, something to that nature.
So one I found, the amazing internet, there was things going all over Facebook when it was happening, and I saw someone posted something, and I went to look at it. And I don't know if you know, there's a, what is it, Notepad? It's a really, really old school program, and the stuff it's not nice and formatted. It just goes on and on and on. And so I took that and I copied and pasted it and put it into a thing. It's totally different. It's completely different. I think that is the real, well, I think there's this idea of it has to be one or the other. I feel like the one that I saw, because it's so much more thorough, it's so different from the letter we've seen in the news. Totally different. But I think, like, let's say,
interesting,
the idea of, well, maybe someone won't find that one. I better write a note out and keep that. So I think it's possible with two different pieces of information.
I think that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, his manifesto is only 162 words. I mean, Kaczynski's 35,000 words. So if you just piece that manifesto, Kaczynski, or you put Luigi's manifesto together with his other behavioral elements of disenfranchisement, of isolation, of the mental conversion, of his attraction to Kaczynski, of his political notion of revolution, of his transformation, of the anecdotal information concerning the people that knew him and said that the descriptions of him after his arrest are totally different than the person they knew before. If you tie that into a medical sequelae, which could be his reaction to the COVID shot when he was a senior in college, he said that, and then this is pretty prevalent, and this is also another argument on this COVID business, but he told his friends that after the COVID shot that he developed this brain fog situation where he couldn't think correctly. So he's not thinking correctly. Let's assume he's not processing information correctly. He gets into this ideological phenomena. He leaves. He goes to Honolulu at surf break. He connects with a lot of like-minded good people. He gets into Kaczynski. He gets more influence. Then he disappears. This is a formula that I've seen with other murderers, where when you ask them the question, why did you do it? And they give you a blank stare. I don't really know. I guess I didn't like the guy. I guess she mistreated me. You know, he stole money from me. You know, they were unfair to me or whatever. So there's a subterranean aspect of some of these killers, which has always been intriguing to me. And that's why Mangione is in my book.
Can I find this and y'all keep talking? Because it's really good. I pieced it all together and floated it around.
We've got some questions here on YouTube and also on Facebook. Don Preston on Facebook, he just mentions, crazy how Oswald and Luigi were dressed identically along with the sheriffs, along their sides during the walkthrough. I don't know if there's anything to that. This is interesting. Lexi wants to know, Dr. Brady, do you, at any point, I would be curious to hear your opinion on the use of MMPI as a tool in court.
I use it all the time. I mean, I've used it for 40 years. So, I mean, it's a very, very accurate diagnostic tool. And in my book, Psychological DNA, I go through the psychological tests that were given to both Sirhan and Oswald. With Sirhan, he was given 2 MMPIs, and the configuration that you're looking for on the MMPI is aggression, violence, and psychopathy, psychopathic behavior, plus paranoia. So with Sirhan, he showed paranoia. He showed that he was kind of heavy toward the delusional psychotic area. So the bottom line is that it's a very good diagnostic tool. Today, it's the MMPI-2RF. That's the newest version of it. But I use it with most of the defendants that I test. More interestingly, are the projective psychological tests that I use, particularly the thematic apperception test, which is really fascinating because that's 20 pictures developed by Henry Murray in the 1940s, where the patient projects their drives, interests, needs, fantasies, and in some cases you can uncover unconscious behavior by their projections. So if I'm looking at your backdrop, which is very thematic apperception test like, with the various figures that I'm looking at, with the bottles, with the figurines. So that would be one projective card that I would give to someone like Mangione to say, what do you see in this particular card? What led up to this scene with behind Neil's head there? What drove that picture? And then what happened in the end? Was this a happy ending or was this a sad ending? So with a lot of criminal defendants, I really rely on the thematic apperception test and the Rorschach. So both of those were reanalyzed with Sirhan. With Oswald, there was no psychological testing because he was dead. But there was adolescent testing when he was confined in New York City, and he was put through a battery of tests with a qualified psychologist. They came up with some very good information concerning his future dangerous behavior, which he said he was future dangerous at age 13. So the long answer to the question is, to the caller's question is that, the psychological testing is really invaluable.
And actually, along the lines when Annabelle brought up the internet, that's obviously something that's come around in the last 20 years, I guess. So how has that changed just how, you look into somebody? Because that is something you have to take into account now, what people are doing on the internet and what they're like. How has that changed for you?
Oh, I think it's changed everything. I mean, when you have people on the internet that are so psychologically confused that they fall in love with bots, where they risk their lives, where they are not even dealing with a real person, they're dealing with an image or a fantasy. Let's say this isn't for some nefarious end. This is just some sort of a fantasy end where people hook up with these fantasy images only available on the internet. There was a famous football player from, I think, Notre Dame you remember that case?
Yeah,
where he contributed money that he felt, and he was a very, very sincere person and not a doomcough. I mean, he wasn't a stupid person. He was very intelligent, but he fell in love. This is early on. It's like 10 years ago. He fell in love with this image of a person. And when he found out that it was only an image, it was an airsat person, really, he felt shamed and humiliated. Well, these kinds of reactions weren't prevalent 30 years ago. I mean, you didn't have...
It just wouldn't happen, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And you wouldn't have the contagion of these people connecting with Mangione 30 years ago. They would have said, this guy's just a murderer. He's a cold-blooded stalking murder, charged with first-degree murder, stalking, and gun possession in 3 different jurisdictions: federal, Pennsylvania, and New York. So I think the internet changes everything.
I found it.
Okay.
Can I read some of it?
Yeah.
Really good.
Read it.
Healthcare and Its Victims by Luigi Mangione, December 3rd, 2024. In this era of towering skyscrapers, artificial intelligence humming quietly through hospital corridors, and the endless litany of self-congratulation over the triumphs of medical science, I find myself compelled to break my silence. Our civilization boasts of its healthcare systems as if they were not only the apex of scientific achievement, but also a paragon of human morality. Yet I stand here, pen in hand, seething with indignation, filled with profound sadness, and forced at last to cast aside all pretenses. I must speak the truth. Our modern healthcare system, especially in this country, is a cathedral built on sand, beautiful in its architectural conceits, but rotten at the foundation, a monument to hypocrisy and greed. Do not mistake my words as those of a lunatic or a lone fanatic. On the contrary, I have observed long and hard, meticulously compiling evidence, listening to the cries of the afflicted, and studying carefully the machinery of oppression that masquerades under the guise of healing. To some, I may appear an isolated voice, an aberration within a culture that seems hypnotized by the glow of technological progress. But I know there are countless others who share my despair, who have looked with aching hearts upon loved ones left untreated, patients bankrupted by basic therapies, researchers stifled by corporate interests, and communities abandoned by hospitals that deem their existence not profitable. My decision to articulate this scathing condemnation arises not from hatred of humanity, but from a profound love for what humans could be if we only tore away the veil. And it goes on. That's one page that I've created. There are 14 pages I created.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive. And I think sounds a lot more like someone who's incredibly smart than what was floated around the internet.
Yeah.
Like some?
No,
I can send it to you. It's
No,
amazing.
I don't think there's any question about IQ measures. I think the question remains, how did a pretty lucid person that could articulate that, and by the way, that was written after he was apprehended, not before. The information in his letter was written post arrest when he was arrested. That's my understanding. It was only 100, and it's only 162 words.
I thought they found it in his backpack.
I don't know whether it was in the backpack, whether there was a spiral notebook with other information in it, or whether this was actually written post. But the issue is, I mean, a lot of the statements that you just read mirror the Kaczynski stuff with the society revolution, with a very lucid approach to changing society. So how did Mangione then become this killer who goes to the extreme measure of wanting to be the savior? So there's a lot of narcissism. There's a lot of delusional material that's woven between the lines of what you just read to me in any context, whether it's 162 words or whether it's 80 pages. When you try and interpret what this means, just like the diary that Sirhan left, where he said that he needed to eliminate Robert Kennedy because of his political ideology, and he thought that Kennedy was going to destroy the Palestinians. That's pretty incriminating information. With the Mangione thing, you have to read into it what led this almost lucid portrayal, sociological letter, to the extreme where he thinks he's above it all. He becomes narcissistically oriented, that he's the savior, and only he, just like Kaczynski, can change the course of human events as it relates to, let's say, specifically to the healthcare industry. Almost a delusional concept where you're assuming that you have the power of changing human events because you murder somebody. Now, the biggest issue, of course, is for the defense attorney to enter information in as mitigators to try and reduce the charges from first-degree murder to second-degree murder, or even first-degree manslaughter, to eliminate the death penalty from this kid, and to make sure that, you know, he's going away anyway. He's going to go away. So is it going to be for life, or is it going to be a negotiated plea bargain for 10 or 15 years?
Yeah.
So, you know, Lodge talked about the morality, obviously, of killing Brian Johnston. What about the morality of him? You know, the idea that he wants to, you know, become rich off of taking away people's health care, or not necessarily taking away, but, you know, not letting people get the help that they need.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't speak to his motivation. You can only look at it as an industry, which is like any other industry. But like I said, the number one reason for bankruptcy today is that people can't pay their health care bills. So that's a pretty devastating situation. And obviously, healthcare has been in the crosshairs of society for the past 25 years, where it's gone from, you know, a domestic product of like 6 or 7% to like 30%, which is just outstanding. So in that transformation, you're going to have a lot of people who are upset, who feel that they were fairly militated against in the adjudication of their claims. They're going to be. I used to work at the VA hospital in San Francisco, and there was a lot of that in the VA when people felt like they were not getting the kind of care that they deserved. There's a lot of PTSD and CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorders also.
Thank you for using that term, because I know there's a big, it even came up at my job today, where, oh, complex trauma. It exists everywhere but United States. It's in,
that's
I know the DSM doesn't like it, but come on now.
That's right. Complex PTSD is a real issue. So with there were disgruntled patients then. That's 35 years ago when I worked in the VA. So there's always going to be that segment of people. You know, I heard an interesting thing by Elon Musk today, where he said that he was accused of being Putin's puppet, bought and paid for. And maybe you saw the comment. And Musk said, he can't afford me anyway. So, you know, I don't think he's bought and paid for. But I think that the people like Mangione feel that this is just one aspect of the capitalistic system that works against poor people. The ultimate goal, according to the neo-Marxists, is then to redistribute everything, give it to the people who least can afford it, and take it from those that can most afford it. So there's kind of a Marxist redistribution of capital, which represents Mangione's thoughts concerning revolution, and his reading stuff kind of indicates that, and him choosing the Kaczynski's Industrial Revolution information is a key factor. But it's back to the factor that, you know, if I'm sitting in a room with Mangione, and I'm not, this is only hypothetical, there's a pretty good chance that he's not going to know the exact drivers that led him to this particular crime. He may know the surface level ones, the neo-Marxist ones, but the psychological drivers are much deeper and take much longer to tease out.
Absolutely. Because like I was saying earlier, I can think all the things, but I'm not going out there and killing people. So what is it in him that makes him different? Makes him different from all these other people who are angry with the system. We're not all out there. So what is that thing in him?
That thing is almost a cult-like conversion syndrome, where people bombard themselves with particular ideological messages so much that they lose their identity and their own self-concept, and they get swept into the notion that their behavior is far above the ordinary person's behavior. Therefore, it's deemed to be socially acceptable, or to be the direction that a good revolutionary will go, whereas the average person is just a dupe to the system, and they'll go and pay their premiums and then have their claims denied, deposed, or delayed, as Mangione wrote on his 9mm shell casings.
I'm wondering about, because I'm in my mind, I'm thinking about, here's a guy who had as far as we know, this amazing life that many of us are like, oh, it'd be really convenient to have XYZ thing. Seemed like he was doing good. And then to have this experience, it seems like that just maybe shut him down to be completely isolated and then vulnerable to see, like you're saying, like this cult member being vulnerable, isolated, feeling alone, and wanting that feeling of, I have a meaning.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I think that the existential significance of that statement is really important, that to have a cause, but to have a cause, which is the SPCA, maybe you like to rescue animals, that's one thing. But to elevate that cause to almost a supreme religiosity notion that you're the one, there's where you cross the line into a semi-delusional state where the person's rational thinking is washed away with this narcissism, that I'm the only one that can control this. Kaczynski said this: I have to put a stop to these computer people because they're not writing stuff out on legal pads. They're putting it into computer language. So once you cross that line, that hard to define line that I try and find with defendants, once you cross that line, it's very hard to go back, because now you're justifying all your behavior based on your set of, you talked about morality, Neil, your unique set of morality rather than a shared set of morality that society proposes. Now it's me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to take action. Therefore, then you have the attraction of the affiliation with these people that say, maybe I could do that too. And I think I'll give them $20 and say, right on, brother. Because you've seen the posts. They're out there, and there is a substrate of society that is so disconnected and angry that they see this guy as their hero, which is back to hybristophilia.
Have you ever seen that level of hybristophilia to this degree? Because I think I don't know if I've seen anyone this, like, really, like who else would be on that same level?
I have. Well, like, you know, the case of the Hillside Strangler. I mean, that's a really that's the perfect case. Okay, would be the Hillside Strangler, where Bianchi convinces this woman, who then she falls hybristophilic like in love with him. She writes a screenplay where a woman is murdered by another woman, but the woman is inseminated with sperm to make it look like a man killed her. She tries to act this out. She goes to, she's so connected to Bianchi, she goes to Seattle, finds a victim, and tries to commit the murder to establish that, and this is before DNA, to establish that Bianchi wasn't the murderer in Washington, that he's going to be tried for 2 murders. He couldn't be him because it was another strangler that she identified so much with him. She acted out this particular crime. Wow. So I think that's a pretty good example.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore, I think.
If only it had stayed a story, it would be an amazing movie. Not so much in real life.
Right.
You know, you have Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker. I mean, she falls in love with this loser who promises her all these gifts, promises her wealth, marriage, writes all these letters to her. And poor Clyde is overcompensating because he's impotent. He can't do the deal, and she is in love with him. Her hybristophilia connects with him and allows both of them to go out and move from minor bank robbery, major bank robbery to murder. So there's another example.
Seems like the psychosis just feeds off of one another. You've got like a narcissistic personality disorder, or the antisocial personality disorder, and there's this other person who just feeds and feeds and builds and builds and builds.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. With somebody like Mangione, you may not even have an antisocial personality. You may have a disguised personality that is so buried in this subterranean aspect of his behavior that he doesn't realize. He convinces himself that right is wrong and wrong is right.
I do want to mention your website, johncbrady.com, which we'll link on here, of course.
Please.
And if you would like to mention the Silicon Valley Confidential series.
It's Silicon, yeah, that's right. Silicon Valley Confidential, which is on my website, and it's a trailer concerning a 5-murder episode that we would like to advertise and broadcast on your podcast someday too.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, and then my books are on there also. There's other books, and then the upcoming book is called Breakthrough, which is a comparison of Oswald and Sirhan, as well as Kaczynski compared to Mangione, and other cases. So the comparison between Oswald and Sirhan are really outstanding, because their developmental backgrounds, their psychological testing, except for the MMPI, are really amazing in terms of how both those characters coursed through their life at age 24 and led to them having a weapon at their hand, shooting the Kennedy brothers. Mm-hmm. So it's a study that's taken me quite a few years to put together to parallel the two psychiatric components of those two men. Now, there's a million books written about the assassination, conspiratorial, the guy on there's a new book every week of a new guy on the grassy knoll. This isn't about that. This is about their individual psychopathology, criminal background behavior that contributed to them having guns. Now, whether Oswald was alone or there was 40 other guys at the grassy knoll, I don't know. That's not my genre. But I know he was there, and I know he took a shot, and I know that Sirhan killed Robert Kennedy, and my advisor at Berkeley was the chief psychiatrist and shared a lot of that information with me to try and figure out why he did it, and then I'm trying to figure out why Lee Harvey Oswald did it. And not coincidentally, a lot of Oswald's behavior derives from his crazy mother, because Marguerite was really out there. So that's the next book.
Interesting. So, what's the line? Well, obviously there's a line, but I would say, like, is it healthy to be interested in obviously it's not healthy to be hypersyphiliac. But just was it sorry?
Hybristophiliac.
Right. But lots of people, Troy and ours mom, all of us here, you yourself, I assume, interest in true crime and why people do so. What's the difference between taking that too far? Is it healthy to have an interest in this? Because Charles Manson I find very interesting. Does that mean I agree with him and things like that? No. But I do think sometimes when people hear that you're interested in someone like that, they assume like you're either a wannabe criminal or you're also there's something wrong with you.
John is interested. Dr. Brady.
Yeah, of course.
I've always been interested because this goes all the way back to, in my history, to the Richard Speck case in Chicago. When I was in high school, when he killed 8 nurses in Chicago and I couldn't figure out why he did it. At that time, my dad was a dentist, and he did some volunteer work at Stateville at the state penitentiary, and he had occasion to run across Speck and told me about it. And I thought, I don't want to be a dentist. I want to do something that's really intriguing. So even in high school, I began to read Freud's collected works and set off on a trail to just try and figure these people out from Richard Speck right down to Mangione. Whether it's always been an objective situation for me that I've never put myself in the place of that person. I've always tried to objectify it, that I'm trying to figure out why they did it, not through me, but why they did it. And the biggest mystery of all is that in many of the cases, they had no clue, one, why they did it. I mean, I've got a case of a multi-billionaire in Silicon Valley. This guy's rich. He's got everything in the world, huge mansion in Palo Alto, servants, everything. He kills a 26-year-old secretary at his company that he founded, high-tech company that pioneered chips that are used in the iPhone. Kills this 26-year-old. And this is a case that I was called upon in the court to analyze this guy. Not only does he do that, but he vivisects her into 4 pieces, puts her into garbage bags.
Wow.
And 2 nights later, he invites her girlfriend over for dinner. Okay. The girlfriend almost discovers the body of her vivisected friend. The perpetrator, Eli, has no clue of what triggered this murder until we get into the deep analysis of his background and what his mother did to him when she smashed his face, disfiguring him for life, caving in his whole. What is it?
What's your trailer on your website?
The trail. Okay, that's my son. He's my producer.
Oh,
So when you go back into the background to figure out that this woman triggered something in him that remained latent for 35 years that he couldn't control. True case, true outcome. Had to diagnose him. He's still in state prison. So the answer to your question is that I don't take it personally. Every case that I do, it's like a mystery case. It's like John Grisham. They're all kind of quasi fictional, and if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I'd do something else. Play golf, probably.
I know I was saying to you in an email that where I work, they kind of give me the people with personality disorders and all these kind of more intense diagnoses. And I really like to work with those people because it is very much problem solving and trying to figure out what is going on. Why is this person like this? Hopefully then they don't have a gun and go into the world. So maybe I'm putting
No. I think that that's a good rescue kind of situation. Mine isn't rescue. I don't want to help these people. What I want to do is to figure out why they did it, and so they don't do it again. So most of the people that I've dealt with are still in state prison for whatever. The most intriguing thing to me is the hidden aspects of their criminality that they've never come to understand. And that goes for Sirhan, and it goes for Oswald, and probably goes for Mangione also. That a long time ago, Theodore Reich wrote a great book called The Compulsion to Confess. And he says that these people, once you can reach into the unconscious mind, you're going to find that they leave a trail of clues that will lead them to confess to what they did.
Talk about the origins for the people that I work with. It's so consistent for the men that their fathers, the ones who are more violent behavior, their fathers like kicked the crap out of them and bullied them. They were bullied. And I think that both of the parents, the bullying part, there's the physical and all these things, but that constant tearing the person down. And then that person just, unless some person comes along to say, hey, you're okay, and interrupt that, then they're kind of just on that path of being isolated, believing these things, and carrying that out with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good orientation to have. With pedophiles, for example, 85% of them were molested themselves. So they are reenacting a scene that happened to them, although they sometimes unconsciously deny any relevance to the past. But there it is, that they were molested. They don't know about it. It remains buried, and suddenly it's reactivated, and then they repeat their particular crime. So that's the number one indicator of recidivism in sex offenders, is whether or not they themselves have been molested. I used to have defense attorneys that would come to me and say, we've got a good defense in this guy's case. I said, well, what's the defense? Well, he was molested. I said, no, you've got it reversed. That's the worst thing, because that increases the probability that they will become offenders by like 80%.
Yeah. So that they can't, you might understand why it happened, but then you also have that basis for, well, that person is not going to be rehabilitated. They have to be.
That's right.
They have to be locked up to protect people because of this.
I wasn't going to pop this up, but it's actually what you're talking about here. Dr. Brady, could you assess the pathology of a YouTube podcaster, Shuli Egar, who discovered his best friend producer was a pedophile, but refused to accept any fault or even address it? So if you don't know the backstory, he's a pretty Shuli Egar used to be on Howard Stern, and he found out recently that the producer of his podcast was a pedophile, and he's in jail now. My personal opinion is he probably just didn't know, but I don't know if you have any thought on that.
So give me a hypothetical rather than a specific case.
Okay. So someone would be have a podcast. Their friend actually like named the podcast and produces the podcast.
Okay.
And then they find out that that person is a pedophile, and then they went to jail. Well, would there be like any reason that person would even know? Or I mean, I guess like really how well could someone hide that? I would assume that that's something you probably don't share with people.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's right, Troy. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes that's true, but back to your issue with the internet now, there's so many affiliative groups of people who like to share this kind of perverse information, that there is a greater awareness among collective groups of people who almost broadcast or are proud of their conquest of children. The Epstein case could be one of those. I don't know. What happened on that island, but there's enough anecdotal information to suggest that a lot of those people that were on those planes were driven in the direction of having sex with minors. Now, whether or not the person would recognize any symptoms are very difficult to outline to the average person concerning their weak impulse control. The best measure of an attitude towards a deviant attitude towards children is through two psychological tests that are visual tests that measure the concentration of activity, of eye activity and focus on deviant photos. So with the one's called the affinity that I use with sexual offender cases. So with that test, there is definitely, you can see whether or not a person is, how long they focus on a particular deviant image. So a person tells me, I show them a picture of one of your images there in the background, and they tell me, no, I'm not interested in that. But when I score the the millisecond of their visual attention, they're lying to me, because they're watching that whatever that skeleton is, or head in the background. They're watching that a lot more than they're acknowledging to me, which is a one measure that they are attracted to that image, even though they're denying it. So they're deniers, but they're not denying what I can see that they're focusing on in the image. So you shoot 100, 180 to titrate it, 180 images, and they don't know what they're supposed to see.
Mm-hmm.
There's no instructions. It's just, Neil, I want you to look at these pictures, and they're on a screen, and tell me what you see. So they may think it's content related. Oh, I see a picture of a guy framed in a background that has a red and white, without your head, live Tuesdays, whatever,
Right.
Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
They may think it's content, but it's not content oriented. It's visually focused orientation that tells me that they have a deviant interest.
I would think if someone actually is going for and lying that they're interested, but you could tell they are, that at that point it wouldn't be just someone. That's like you're acting at that point. So you would have to have some knowledge that I'm not supposed to say I like this. I don't want this person to know that I like this image or whatever it is.
Yeah. The ruse is they think it's content oriented. So tell me what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what the image is. So they're telling me, they're describing a picture of an adult sitting in a classroom with a little boy, and he's giving him instruction. Now, is he looking at the teacher, or is he looking at the little boy? So his eye focus tells me this guy's all right. He's looking at the adult. The next picture shows, a similar kind of scenario where you're measuring his visual acuity towards a topic that he thinks is content related, but it's not content related. It's visual timed related.
It's really interesting. And I can imagine it has to be at least 180, because you could maybe this, and maybe there's a reason they look at this thing, like, oh, maybe they identify with this child with this hair and they put themselves in that position, but then just the accumulation of over and over and over.
That's right. Exactly. Which is back to the thematic apperception test, which is not a sex test, but it's a measure. It's a window into your subconscious area, because you don't know what the story is, but the outcome is. It seems pretty strange. After 18 pictures, everybody's a victim. This guy was shot, he was mugged, she was raped, this guy happened, he was, he died in surgery, whatever the situation is. It gives you sort of a picture of, this guy sees the world as being a victim.
So I don't know if this is a question you really have an answer for, but so obviously Luigi's been talked about a lot. It's on everyone talks about it. Is that good or bad? So does someone see that and think, oh, if I do something, even if I think it's morally right or something, I'm going to become famous?
Oh, yeah, I think that's a really good comment. Yeah, I mean, I think that's been portrayed in movies, in screenplays, in stage plays of that I want to be famous. I think that's part of the whole zeitgeist of the human experience, that they want to be somebody. But at what point does that necessarily transcend rational meaning? If you want to, stand out and do something which is significant for society, that's fine. But if you want to do it through a nefarious means, that's not fine. Where you want to, suddenly kill somebody to become famous. I think with the Mark David Chapman thing, there's an element of that also. But there's a real clear element that he was overly identified, that he connected with, maybe in a homosexual way even, that he connected with Lenin, that he lost his identity, that he surrendered it to Lenin. When Lenin crossed him, he had to kill him. He flew to New York twice, actually, and stalked him. Second time, he shot him in front of the Dakota. So, yeah, I think that's there. That fame. There's movies about that have articulated it a lot better than I could. But yeah,
I had a client, and I won't go for confidentiality reasons. I'll only go so far into it. This person, really young person, really struggled socially, had some cues about maybe developing schizophrenia for different reasons. And they ended up going into a large public gathering, which was great because this person didn't want to do things like that, but then had said that they wanted to jump on the stage. And like, oh, why would you want to do that? And it was about the attention, and then wanting to do it and have security come up because it would go viral on the internet. And there's a lot more to that person that made the case concerning and that was reported to supervisors. But it was really, sad and at the same time fascinating to see this going on within this person of trying to see there. And there was no not the way a healthy person could relate. To this person, it made sense. I would do this. I would get attention. And it really was that simple. It was fascinating and really sad because it was like that was on par with just having some viral video of I don't know what was one of the other things, something relatively mild, and they were just considered to be the same. Just hoping for that attention, hoping to have that viral video.
Yeah.
Very sad. I don't know what happened to that person, but
there's also a different paraphilia, which is exhibitionism. So with the person that wants to get on the stage, when does that cross the line into pathological behavior, which they're completely unaware of? Not only do they go to the stage, but they drop their pants when they're on the stage, and they get this unbelievable reaction from the crowd, or they do it privately, that they want attention, so they flash a woman at a Safeway or store or airport, wherever. And women do this too, by the way. I've had some women exhibitionists that were even more intriguing psychiatrically than the men were. So, but when does that need for recognition or visibility cross the line to something they can't control, and it becomes not only a sexual event, it's illegal. Okay. Yeah. So it becomes, it's like shoplifting. I mean, shoplifting is a behavioral addiction, but it's also illegal in most cases, in most states, $900, whatever. So with the exhibitionist, does that person crosses the line and does something which is really not a sexual behavior. It's an unconscious behavior that's driven by an unrecognized need to be important and to make a statement, existential statement. Here I am, recognize me.
Do you think there's any part of that also under the surface that knows the consequences and that they will be punished, like the self-hatred?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I've got a whole section in my book on self-sabotage. Yeah. Why people self-sabotage their life. Why do they leave a trail of evidence that is clearly going to convict them or show them that they're the perpetrator? Or why do they engage in these behaviors? With Lee Harvey Oswald, he's got a whole trail of self-sabotaging behaviors. Shooting guns, shooting himself in the foot, literally, not just figuratively. Engaging in odd behaviors. in doing things that are antisocial, in running away from school when he was 12 years old, when he knew he was going to get caught. So there's a whole psychology of self-sabotage, which is a string of behaviors unbeknownst to the person that leads to them condemnation, maybe, public chastisement, or even jail. So there's that element you have to look for also. Is the person self-sabotaging? Sirhan, obviously, and Mangione, leaving those statements, making statements, when he's arrested, this kind of word salad about power to the people, whatever it was. It was kind of, a strange utterance from kind of a strange person at the time, leaving these breadcrumbs for us to later interpret. That's what makes it fun. I mean, to me.
Yeah.
I feel, and I have, it's,
Try
this at the same time, as we say for DBT, the dialectics, where I can find that enjoyable to do what's that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying the enjoyment of the puzzle, and also this is a tragic, sad thing at the same time, and we can have all those things going on at once.
Yeah, more than one thing can be true at one time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, where can people get your books?
Here at Without Your Head. No. at Barnes and Noble. It's a good place. We just did a book tour in Southern California with Barnes and Noble.
Oh, cool.
It was just super fun. On Amazon, my website, which is just johncbrady.com, or on the publisher Trine Day, TRINE Day, DAY. I guess those are the sorts.
Do you have audio versions of any of your books?
Yeah, I think I don't know. No, I don't think.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I walk a lot, but I read too. So, yeah.
Yeah, the complex terminology in some of it really doesn't lend it to like a Danielle
That's
Steele
probably true. Yeah.
flow where
You'd have to get the right
it's
reader,
more
I would suppose.
it would be harder.
A very
I think.
specific audience that would
Yeah.
be.
It's not. He opened the door and she stood there with a gun loaded.
Right.
This is when you're talking about the elements of self-sabotage, for example. It wouldn't be that easy to just. I guess I could do it. I don't know, but I enjoyed being on your very interesting podcast, because it's fun, and I'm interested in horror shows, crime shows, stuff that you guys are interested in also. So it's just not. I'm not just interested in pure nonfiction. There's a lot of fictional stuff that's
and just like us, we're not just horror people. We have a lot of interest ourselves, so I think it works. So.
Yeah, it
what
does.
do you think the importance is of having the interest in horror? And because horror is pretty extreme fantasy, right? For you, looking at yourself, why do you think you're drawn to horror?
Why am I drawn to it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because I think once again you're trying to figure out what the screenwriter and what the director is trying to convey. When you look at something like Smile, Smile. I mean, those are really intriguing movies. It's a psychiatric movie also.
I agree 100%. I think it's overlooked how I think a lot of those elements overlooked. There's a lot of PTSD, there's shame involved in Smile. I don't think it gets enough credit.
Multiple personality, dissociative identity stuff, split personalities,
That's what's good about them, though, because you can dig as deep as you want. You can just take it on a surface level and just have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, Split. Yeah, Split's a good one.
Split's a great one, too.
Yeah, my son just said Split. We saw that. So, I think there's a crossover, and there's a cross-fertilization of two genres, and it's a lot of fun. So when I'm called in to analyze a patient, you know, you have to draw on all the spheres that you have in order to figure out why this person did it. And sometimes that comes from a fictional sense also.
I think that's fair, because whatever that fiction, the fiction came from an actual person. So it's not like it just exists in a vacuum. So if you're getting things from the film, it's through, like you were saying, thinking about what the director or the writer has done, because in that, it's like, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. You know, I've written a couple of books on women shoplifting.
I saw it on the site.
Women theft behavior, rich women that steal. You know, if you look at Psycho, she's running away because she stole the money from her boss's safe. Okay, it's a theft case. Ends up a murder case, but it starts out as a theft case. If you look at the movie Marnie, she was a thief. She stole from her boss, rescued by Sean Connery, who was kind of strange, but the movie's 40. That's right. The movie's 40 years old, but both those cases started with a crime, you know, a perceived crime, and then it led into something else. But there's a crossover between the fictional stuff that you guys probably concentrate more on, and the reality stuff that I'm faced with every day. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, like you say, sometimes they kind of meld together too.
That's exactly.
The horror part for me is that because the work is so much, that it's such an escape. Like, it's still there and I can still put my brain on it, but there's nothing to risk by me getting into all of this stuff. I'm not on the line. There's no one that's counting on me to get something right if I watch a horror movie. So I can analyze and do all my little things. Sure. And relax with it and have that fun. Whereas with other people, I'm, you know, it's not after. I think it's probably very different to be an after the fact person that comes in is like, this happened. Here's the scene. I'm going to analyze it. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I think there's, it's different because I'm trying to stop it. Please don't go into the world with your, I can't.
Well, one could help the other.
Identifying.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Well, you know, and I'm sure in your studies you're well aware of Freud's concept of countertransference. Yeah. So that's the area you want to really be careful of. It's not when the patient ascribes certain characteristics to you; it's the reverse. Freud learned this the hard way with the case of Anna O. I think it was Anna O, where he tried to rescue her. He got caught in kind of a persecutor-rescuer trap, where he wanted to rescue her so much that that's when he developed countertransference, the concept of that was furthered by Anna Freud's daughter later, 25 years later. But that's the problem. You don't want to get involved in that, and that's where each therapist then needs to have some sort of a channel or be in therapy themselves, so they don't start connecting. Maybe this goes back to an earlier question that you asked before about over-identifying. If you start to over-identify, that means that's a sign of countertransference, and a more experienced therapist will alert you to that, so you don't start becoming mixing data, we call it, right? You don't want to be mixing data. You want to keep data separate. And if that person describes that you look like my sister, who was schizophrenic, she ended up in a mental hospital, and I always thought that was going to happen to me. That's different than me becoming involved in your data.
Yeah.
So that's
I just brought something to supervision today because
that's right. Something to
I
think
about. Get into the whole world, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and it's very challenging. And so I'm trying to not be that advice giver, because I know that's not my role is not to be the advice giver. My role is to be there and help people figure their things out.
Yeah, I mean, it's always better to operate with motivational interviewing techniques than it is with a direct kind of therapy. Even though I learned both techniques, but motivational interviewing is much less intrusive and allows a mutual nurturing of relationship, and to where the person will say, yeah, I did it. I'm an asshole, and I know I did it, and I'm not going to do it again. Rather than the therapist saying, you're an asshole, and I know you did it, so don't do it again.
That's why I get those people and other people don't, because they'll be like, no.
Yeah.
Exactly why. I love motivational interviewing.
There you go. There you go. I know Bill Miller. He's a good guy. Very good guy. Academic. He's not doesn't do the stuff that I do.
Hmm.
So I can steal his stuff and use it in treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't do the kind of stuff that I do. So Neil, do you think we did a good job here?
I think we did a great job, and I would love to have you back sometime, and we could talk.
Absolutely.
You know, when you have new book coming out or the series coming out,
no, I'd love
talk
to come
about horror stuff. Yeah, I think it would be interesting.
It's so much fun, really. You know, when I saw that you were interested, you know, I was interested too, because it's a different frame of reference, and if you're so closed off that you have to go to Bill O'Reilly's of the world, I mean that's okay. That can get you there too.
Let's do it live. Yeah, Bill. That's a Bill Riley reference.
Yeah.
You know,
did you ever see that when there's a shot of him like going crazy before he thought it was wasn't being filmed, and he's yelling at his people, "Let's do it live."
Yeah, I know.
I can imagine it though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sold more books than any other American historian. So you know, but
wow.
It's a different genre. You know, he isn't playful. He doesn't have any fun with what he does. I guess. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know the people at KABC in New York. So, you know, maybe I could talk about my books on that station. But this is different, and it's fun.
Yeah.
That's why it's intriguing. If you shut yourself off from everything, and the PR person for the publisher, Sharon, that does this, she's just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she just has me doing all kinds of interviews. I had 2 interviews today. I had one at 2:00 also from an attorney in LA, which is really fun.
Wow. So yeah, it's nice to, like you said, to get out there to
One
different
extreme
audiences.
to the other. Yeah.
Mix it up.
Well, it's kind of like
it's not.
Dr. Brady was only the second person I had ever heard mention Bernard Diamond, and the other one was F. Paul Wilson, the horror author from New Jersey. So
From Jersey, South Jersey. Yeah, Bernard Diamond was my man at Berkeley. I mean, he was my advisor. He was my, you know.
That's wild, because that was the only other person I've ever heard mention him before.
Yeah. So why don't I send you guys a couple of books too? So send me your physical address.
All right. Yeah,
outstanding.
Send me your physical address, and I'll send you a couple of signed books.
All right. Yeah, I would love that.
Or do you want 3?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
On that one, yeah.
I'm going to send them to you.
All right. Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you so much.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's been a lot of fun.
No, I had a great time. Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, anytime you want to come back.
Yeah. After our show tonight, I'll send you the address.
Yeah, send me the address. So are you guys in Boston? Where are you?
Spread. I'm north of Boston. There's north of Boston.
Yeah,
on the Cape.
I'm on Cape Cod. Troy's off Cape Cod, and Annabelle's north. So we're all in Massachusetts, not directly in Boston.
It's like a line.
Is it cold right here?
It's freezing.
Tonight. Yeah.
Well, it's actually not too bad. It's a balmy 25 right now.
What was the weather here today? 70 today here.
Oh, jealousy.
It's been the coldest winter I remember in years.
Yeah.
It hasn't been very. It was cold when I was a kid, but it hasn't been cold the last 5 or 6 years. A lot more snow than for a long time, and much colder than it's been.
Boston's such a great place. I mean, I love Boston.
Yeah.
Really
I don't know if I could ever leave. I really don't. I've been a lot of other places, but
No,
Really, that Dirty Water song, "Boston, You're My Home."
that's right. I spent a lot of, well, there's a whole section in the Sirhan book on the Boston Strangler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what happened to the Boston Strangler with his induced confession?
Mm.
He was never convicted of killing anybody. Okay, but F. Lee Bailey brought in Dr. Bryan to convince him that he should confess. When the book came out, Sirhan read the book, the Gerald Frank book. He read the book, so when Diamond wanted to hypnotize him, he's thinking about what happened to Boston Strangler, and he said, "No, I don't think so."
Wow.
Pretty interesting. So DeSalvo wasn't convicted of that at all. He was convicted of rape and physical assault and a couple of other things. But when Sirhan saw that, and then he saw that Diamond wanted to hypnotize him in order to get to what happened on the evening at the Ambassador Hotel, he became a little skittish. So anyway, send me the.
Yeah, definitely send it. Yeah, after our show here, I will send that to you, and we definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys are a lot of fun.
That was wonderful.
You could spread the word to your colleagues that I'd love to talk to them also.
Yeah,
definitely.
The goal is to get the word out and to have fun and sell some books.
Yeah,
and then let me know what you think of the trailer.
Oh. Yeah, we can play it we can play it here if you don't mind.
If that's fine. You can pass it on to your producer of the Puppet
show.
Killer.
That's me. Oh, Lisa OVS. Yes, yeah.
Lisa's very smart.
Yeah. We know a lot of different filmmakers and producers and stuff. So yeah, I think a lot of them would be interested.
Wonderful. Let me know, okay?
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for doing this.
I'll send you the stuff. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful.
Thank you, John.
Bye.
Yeah, I think Troy's having some issues there, but I'm sure he'll be back.
No, that's all right. He's a sweetheart. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
All right, Dr. John. That was great. Dr. John Brady.
That was awesome.
Whoa, very close there. Right there. So we're gonna go to break for a little bit. We'll come back and talk about some stuff that's happening. We've got Dead of Winter this weekend.
Are you gonna play the trailer that he was talking about?
I'm getting it ready right now. So yeah, I've got it actually ready. I can do that right now, and then we'll be back. And I think I have to remove us here.
Okay.
Or I can just let's see. This is what's happening. Boom! It's gonna show it right there.
Okay.
Do you want to watch us with me?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
I'll silence myself as not to interrupt.
All right, here we go. Oh, you know what? I may have it muted. No, I do not. All right.
Hello, Mr. Davis.
She was probably just trying to please her boss.
Who knows what was in his head? One thing I do know, it's my job to find out.
I've been in this business a long time. I've seen 50 murderers face to face. The focus that I've had for 25 years as a forensic psychologist in Silicon Valley is to figure out those cases of people that committed certain kinds of crimes when they really didn't have to. One case of Eli Davis, who was a fabulously wealthy man, brilliant student, went to Stanford.
Are more people coming?
He patented a chip that's used in cell phones, made $400 million. However, he went off the deep end and became a murderer. He murdered one of his employees, but he doesn't know why he did it. Turns out the poor woman was found in a freezer in 4 pieces. Every crime has a thread somehow to the past. What I do is come to be known as mind tracking. It's the way to tunnel back into somebody's psyche to figure out current behavior from a past event.
Is that you, Eli?
The judge in the case wanted to know why Eli did this.
Mr. Davis, I'm Dr. Brady. I've got a court order here to do a psychological assessment.
So the judge ordered 6 sessions with him in order to discover when did the first criminal intent happen. In other words, when did they first decide, consciously or unconsciously, to deviate from normalcy?
So tell me, Mr. Davis, what do you see in this image?
It's a little girl and a baby.
Anything else?
The woman is
Get over here, boy.
overbearing.
So once the rapport was established and we were able to enter into hypnotic sessions and using various kinds of techniques, including biofeedback, he began to slowly trust me. As he trusted me, more disclosure came out tied to events that happened in his childhood.
And this image?
She's scared. No, she's angry.
Angry. Why angry?
She's always angry. There's glass everywhere.
That's slow. Get over here, boy.
Oh, Eli, you starting to do.
God, I hate her. She needs to die. This time I'm gonna kill her.
There's a lot of imagination and a lot of unconscious material that really determines what we do. These particular tests with Eli takes him back into a situation that he feared the most, which was his mother, to the extent that he re-identified the mother later with the victim. He told me, I didn't want to turn out like this. I wanted to be a normal kid, but it just didn't happen. My mother never gave me the chance to become a normal person.
That looks very good. And there's some stuff in there like he had talked about, showing people the an image and getting their perspective what that meant. She's angry. Why does he think she's angry? So yeah, this is definitely a show I'd watch. And I know our Troy and our mom would be into this. We grew up, our mom's really into true crime.
And it's interesting because I think a lot of us would say, well, I would just lie. You could just fake it and cheat it. But there's a reason why, like I was saying earlier, we wouldn't go out there and kill someone because our brains.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You know,
yeah,
we wouldn't do it. And so our brains are responding to things differently than someone else. So can that person, some of them can lie, some of them can't. Antisocial personality disorder usually does a lot better with being able to deceive, but then I would go on and on. But that
Well,
looks
that was interesting when he was talking about when we had Dr. John Brady, and he talked about like to watch people and see like if they're lying or not about like, oh, I'm not interested in this photo, but they're looking at certain things because not only just the idea that you'd lie about it, but there'd have to be a reason why you'd lie. You'd have to know like, oh, I'm not supposed to say I like this.
and the 180, that's a long time to have someone asking you those things. So it's really is important to have it go for that long, because any test, we could take any kind of test, and the more answers you have, the more accurate it's going to be.
Because it could, I mean, obviously, if you have one image that maybe you're really not interested in, but for whatever reason, you're like, oh, something caught your eye on it. That really doesn't mean anything. But, after you go through many, you'd pick up patterns.
And even if you are lying, if you're doing that for that long, it's really hard with that mind that's not normal to keep on that the whole time because of that. So if the person wasn't obsessed, then they would answer normally. So the different thing in their brain is partially controlling whether or not they can lie that long.
By the way, I didn't pop some of these up. Some folks who sent in super chats. Mike, Shitty Internet Provider, sent $2. I'm scared of John. Neil, help me. Which I thought was funny, but I didn't want to. Yeah. I think he's just listening. And then he said, "Yeah, happy birthday to everyone, but mostly to me." Well, thank you. And then later on, he even said, "He's like, stay on. You can stay on track and don't post up my silly nonsense, something like that." But he was cool. And then with this one we did, that was a $10 super chat. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
What did he write?
That was the one that he had asked.
Boom. Oh, okay.
This was the Dr. Brady. Could you assess the pathology of a YouTube podcaster, Shuli Egar, who discovered his best friend producer was a pedophile, refuses to accept any fault? There's actually something more to that one, but for me to really get, I would have to explain like so much stuff, and I didn't really want to do that. But the weird, all of it was pretty weird. But so people don't know. So I'd mentioned it. Shuli Egar used to be on Stern. His producer is pedophile. My opinions probably just didn't know. But
yeah,
what he did after that, I thought was very peculiar. Is he made like a work about it, So he pretended that this other guy, Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony, like that he was like fighting with Shuli because Shuli knew more about the pedophilia, and it was all a setup to get Stuttering John to like.
It's pretty convoluted.
It's very convoluted, but the idea that you would use like a real life pedophile as part of like a work to try to get over on someone else, I thought it's very bizarre behavior.
Yeah.
User, who is the person that came up with that story?
Shuli.
These people are all bad.
that's the gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because Anthony Cumia, isn't that the Anthony and Opie Anthony?
Yeah. So anyway, we'll have the website up after the show. It'll be on the YouTube thing. It'll also be on the main website. So go and check out Dr. Brady's website, his books, watch the trailer for yourself. And I'm really interested in reading more.
How would you feel about offering a place where people can access the Luigi Mangione?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll link that right in with the interview if you want.
That would be cool because it's really, I have true faith that is what he wrote in advance.
Yeah.
It reads like someone who is incredibly intelligent. It's compelling. It's really, really well written. Again, I'm not going to go out there and shoot someone.
Well, like I was saying,
unless they need it.
Well, it's an interesting case because a lot of people not only just can relate, but they can like okay, I don't have sympathy. I'm not saying I don't. Maybe I don't, but you could see how people wouldn't have sympathy for the guy for the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can understand why that would happen, and maybe not even like, obviously you don't, but at the same time also be like, going and shooting someone in the street is not going to help anything. Both those things can be true. So it's not necessarily like I am, I think this is, this is right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's a little more to it. You could think it's right or wrong to kill somebody, but the justification, the sympathy, there's a lot more to the case, I think.
I wish I had these all labeled, because it's so good. It's so good. I would read it all, but I don't know if you want to sit here and listen to me read it all.
No, we can post it for everyone to take up to look at.
Yeah, what'd you say it was, like a 6-page thing?
It is, well, I cropped it, so it probably is. So my little crops are about roughly 2. Let me see. Neil, can I send a picture of this to you on Facebook, and then you could just show how big it is? And I labeled it very clearly, because when I put it out there, I thought, well, this is going to disappear just like it did. It disappeared. The link I found from Facebook went away. So I just lucked out and just saw it and clicked it. Wow, this is interesting. And then I saved it. I took screenshots and saved everything.
I'm going to play a real quick video while you're sending that over. It's only 28 seconds long.
Sure.
I can do it after if you want. It's fine.
No, it's okay, because I have to get into the Facebooks and all this stuff.
So this is just this is it's not necessarily, well, he might be cast too, but this is an announcement of someone involved in the upcoming Arbor Day.
Hello, I'm Michael J. Epstein. I'm the cinematographer for Arbor Day. You won't know me from such films as the Once and Future Smash, Blood of the Tribbles, and Clickbait. You also might not know that I'm vegan, but not because I like animals, but because I hate plants. And that's why I wanted to be part of Arbor Day.
There you go.
He's so funny. That was good.
Uh-huh. He will be in it as well. There's a character he's probably gonna be playing, but we'll figure all that out later.
So I sent you the page sample, so you'll see how I did it. I ended up cropping it in a way that I thought would be best for people to access the information in pages cut up with specific numbers that are in the background so that you can't take it out. Because, I become like Reddit-y, and there's just so much stuff on Reddit. Things are getting taken down all over the place. They're just pretty wild.
Let's grab this here. I was going to bring up, I didn't want to, but I have an upcoming movie coming out where I was, true crime movie. This was the real guy I play in it.
Dude, no wonder they picked you. Perfect. Okay, so this is the way this is organized. I put this kind of it's almost like a watermark pages. They're 1, 2, 3. And so it's 1 out of 14, 2 out of 14. So people know that there are a total of 14 pages. So that's what I'm considering a page, is each of these columns is a page. Mm-hmm. So there's enough of those to make 14 total columns. It's pretty great.
So you're saying the original thing is longer than the 160 words? Or whatever?
This is already more than 160 words right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is fine, but my idea is that who knew where I saw it for a moment. I saw that for a moment, and then it was gone. You know what I'm talking about, guys? Where it's like a notepad, Like there's the
Well,
old Microsoft.
You're going to keep saying old, but it's what I use for every episode of the show. I write my outline of the interview in Notepad. I send it to myself, and then I pop it up on the screen. It's right over here while we're doing the episode.
There's no paragraphs in Notepad.
I don't need paragraphs.
Oh my God.
I just need my notes.
Crazy.
I need my old school notes. When we first went to video, I used to write my notes handwritten.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just go way old school with the legal pad,
But if you had something that was paid, so at any rate, it was very weird to have something out in like a Word, a Notepad thing, especially for someone who's not in their 40s and almost 50s. That is not normal. So there it was. And where was I going with this? I don't even remember anymore. What are you doing?
I'm going to take a picture and send to you of my layout here.
Oh, I thought you said your lair. I was like,
well, sort of.
Naga Chaser can't read or write. Interesting. Are you doing talk to text?
No, I'm not. I'm in emailing.
Naga Chaser. I think it's Naga. My vision.
Maybe. Like, can you do talk to text in a chat room? If not, they should have.
Yeah, because you just
like an Indian demon. I kind of dig Naga.
Yeah,
it's good.
Right?
Noga is what it is. Noga Chase.
Oh, no. What's a Noga?
Like Naga better.
Snake.
Naga's better.
Right? That's cool. Yeah. Sorry, yours is also cool. Sorry to shit on your name, but I don't know what that is. I know you're joking. Come on now. Clearly.
Oh, no. So also here's this is the first wardrobe test of Truett for our man Funk.
Nice.
Gotta trim up that beard, man. No mobby dude is gotten a beard. You gotta just trim it.
I'm filming Steve in Arbor Day the next week. I can't shave this all off and grow back. I'm already growing the whole hair out.
Trim it. Just trim it. Just trim.
Good time. It's not filming to April.
So the mafia's like the New York Yankees. They don't allow like facial hair.
Facial hair.
I did not know this.
No.
There's none in Sopranos. There's none in Casino. There's none in The Godfather.
No, that's true. I'm thinking back. I can't think of any.
I am
only one.
There's some in the who has some in The Godfather?
The Godfather.
Does Vito
Corleone?
No, the other Corleone. Marlon Brando.
That's Vito. I don't think he does.
I think he does. Am I having, what do they call it?
He might just have a little. Oh no! Don't go with the whatever.
Vagina Wrinkle is here.
Oh, nice.
Hello. Definitely a mustache.
Oh, he does. See, well then I'm totally fine. Boom.
Yeah.
Mustache. It's a little mustache, not a big roughy thing.
He just has like a pencil thin going.
It's 2025. If Vito Corleone was around today, he'd have a goatee.
Well, Brando would do whatever the hell Brando wants to do.
Exactly. That's where I got all my acting chops is from Marlon Brando.
All the way through to Island of Dr. Moreau, where he did whatever he wanted.
Many people called me the modern day Marlon Brando.
I was going to say Dr. Moreau. Huh?
Yeah.
It's
the modern day Dr.
That's what I always call him.
I love you, Scruffy. Well, thank you, Todd Quality.
Well, yeah, but not for a mafia guy. But otherwise, it looks great. You look very ferocious.
Yeah, get the chest hair going on, get the chains, get some. Those are my Troy. That's our uncle's old gold chain and rings. By the way.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Would he be proud?
I think so.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a mob fan in movies and such.
Mm-hmm.
Who isn't?
Look at me. No.
Worry about those who aren't.
So yeah, yesterday was my birthday.
Yeah.
My last year of my 40s. So 49.
49. How
One
you
more
feeling
year.
about it? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, it's funny because Andrew, who's in who's in Arbor Day, people don't know.
The child Andrew.
Yeah, he was asking me like about my 40s compared to my 30s, and then I stopped and I thought, well, I was like, well, the first half of my 40s were not good. The second half were a lot better, and honestly, my 40s were I did way better than my 30s. So
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
I don't know, maybe these 50s are doing pretty
30s.
good.
But my 30s were pretty sweet.
I'm
Mostly
not talking about your 30s. I'm talking about my 30s.
I didn't say your 30s were sweet, but they should have been because we were hanging out.
No, yeah, but then I got very sick and I was dying, and
At
it
the
was
end.
not a good time.
How old were you when that happened?
But so for about 5 years ago, when I started to get healthy and I stopped drinking, I started walking, my mental health improved. I started getting involved in movies. Everything really, I would say these last 5 years, I've accomplished a lot more than I did previously. Now, we did create dinner and movie and Without Your Head and In Your Head. It's not like I did nothing in the previous years, but if I had to compare, I would say the latter part of my 40s was my best time.
That's fair
Excellent.
enough.
Keep that going, man. That's good.
All right.
How did you get into that? Because
Into
you
the
were, Neil, doing, I mean, as far as the transition to doing more film stuff.
Oh, I know exactly. So I started doing festivals. Well, first did conventions. But the festivals is definitely where it started to go more into the movie stuff. It's something I'd always interested in. We used to talk about a lot of silly movie ideas, including Arbor Day. And then when I was at Michael Epstein, and his idea was to do a short film, Umbilicus Desidero, when I was having surgery that would result in not having a belly button. Now, I didn't get cosmetic surgery. Like I'm very anti belly button, and I wanted it removed. It was a side effect of the surgery, and so Michael's like, let's make a documentary about it. I thought he meant a real documentary, and once I was like, I guess, but then when we started to make it, and I realized what he wanted. It's a mockumentary, played very serious, and I thought it went really well. He liked it. It played a bunch of festivals, and then from there, we worked together on the Once and Future Smash and End Zone 2, and then some other acting things popped up since then. And yeah, so I honestly have to give thanks to Michael and Sophia for starting that ball rolling. I mean, I was always interested in that, but I didn't really know how to get involved. And definitely through
they gave birth to the future Neil. Now here you are. That's really weird to think about. They gave birth to you. You're like,
that's our next movie. No,
right?
Yeah. But Vagina Wrinkle's a fan of Umbilicus Desidero.
It's really good. It's really
and that brought us back together. We were not talking, and hadn't seen each other in like a year and a half, or maybe 2 years, something like that. And then
you would be better without me too.
And then we were at the premiere of Umbilicus Desidero. Neither of us knew we were going to be there.
I was mad. I'm like, what the hell is this in the program? Like, God damn it, Neil, doing a fucking movie about his belly button. Who does he think he is?
And we avoided each other. We avoided each other. And then I didn't notice at the time, but you were like filming it because you were like, I'm going to make fun of this stupid belly button movie.
No. When did this happen?
You told me this
in
since
your
then.
imagination.
No, you told me this since then. I think you even brought up on the show that you were going to video it and then put it on like Facebook and make fun
I would
of it.
never do that.
And
Come
then,
on. I would never, ever do that. Don't even.
Honestly, you've said it on the show.
I would never do that. Find it. I would never do that.
And then either way, we bumped into each like basically ran into each other. One of us going in the door, the other out. And this was after the movie played. And boom, we like hugged and talked. And and we've been
I
hanging out ever since.
approached you. Look at you just tearing me down.
I said
I'm
this
gonna
story
put it
a million
on the
times on the show.
internet. No, don't flatter yourself. I was not, but yeah, I approached you because I was with the guy at the time, and I'm gonna go. I had to swallow it because it was a great short, and
I'm very proud of him, Billy, because it doesn't air.
it was fantastic. And I'm like, it's funny. You can't stay mad at Neil. It's funny. So, but it was the first chance. It was the first opportunity to be able to talk with you. So it
That's
just
true.
lined up.
So this is these. I ordered these. Well, I ordered them Sunday night, but I forgot Monday was a holiday, so they didn't start producing them till Tuesday. And I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to get these in time for the weekend, but whatever. Wednesday they arrived, and I even used the free shipping. I have no idea how they made them. Printed 250 of these, sent them out, and I got them in 24 hours. And they were sent USPS ground. But
props to that company, whoever that was.
Yeah.
Next
like
day flyers.
They just put it in and send it out.
Well, especially if it was like half the price of like Walmart making them.
Yeah, 250 of these cost me the same as 40 of them at Walmart.
Oh, so even better then. That's awesome.
It's pretty sweet.
So if you would want one,
I know those crazy kids.
Yeah, we'll be having we're going to be launching the campaign very soon.
Can you blow yourself up so people can see this image?
Oh, I thought you meant like take myself out, like get some dynamite.
Bang!
Yeah, I like this. Oh, I see.
It doesn't help
very nice,
man.
We got let's see, we got over here
all
is
looks so
local
insane there. I love it.
New England filmmakers, myself, Troy, and Annabelle. And then it's Cape Cod, Boston, Massachusetts. Because the idea was these will be around locally. So I wanted to really put over the local people.
Yep.
So we've got Joe Needbala, Andrew Savory, Brian Ray, and Jim McDonough. And then the cast of genre legends with Tim Dry, Dan Yeager, Helene Udy, Paul Ehlers, Ed Gwynn, Bill Wheaton, and Michael St. Michael's. And there's a lot of other people involved too. But I can't put them all on the flyer.
No.
Maybe I might make another image that does include everybody.
I love all those crazy bastards.
Yeah.
They all love you too, including
That's all that matters.
Yes. You are lovable, Troy. I'm sure everybody does.
That could be my new tag name instead of Terrible Troy, Lovable Troy.
Exactly.
Troy.
I dig it.
So yeah, VW was actually going to go to Atlanta with me for, but she can't make it, unfortunately. But it looks like AJ will be coming. AJ Cutler.
Well, that's
nice.
I'm very envious, highly envious, but
I think you guys will have a good time this weekend, though.
Yeah, I'm glad it's come together. Dead of Winter 2.
Worcester, Massachusetts. I didn't buy a ticket yet. I need to buy a ticket. Shit. Did you buy one yet?
No.
Yeah, we got to do that. Because we support the people. If everybody got like a deal, like all the local people got a deal, they would make no money.
So after a decade, it's been 10 years, maybe longer. Nasty Neil is returning to the panels. I will be hosting or moderating the Toxic Avenger 40th anniversary reunion panel at Worcester on Saturday.
Yeah. Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you, James Astney, James Lamont, from understand all the people that were on the show last week. Were very they liked being on and they thought it would be a good fit, so it'll work out. It'll be good. We'll have to film it. if they allow.
Maybe actually have the real camera.
Oh yeah. That could
Yeah,
be-
because then I can tweak the video. If your phone would be cool, but if it's the camera, I can tweak the video.
Yeah, I'll make sure all the batteries are charged up.
Nice.
Craig Lindbergh might be making the scene. He's working locally, and he might come out with his son.
Yeah, you said that. I'm like, he doesn't live here. Doesn't he live out in New York?
Yeah, I believe he's working on a project not too far away. He said he's going to bring he's bringing a board game. So if we have time, we can.
Ooh.
Cool.
Now that should be cool.
Well,
I
I
want
don't know
some video of that if you guys are playing
Yeah.
some crazy board game.
Yeah,
I don't
bring
know
Texas
if you
Chainsaw.
saw the setup last time, but it was pretty. It's kind of ridiculous. I pulled, they'll always have like they'll have the bureau and the long table with a chair. And I dragged that up between the two beds. It was, the place was.
That's when we were playing Poop Shoot.
Yes. Was that place okay? I'm thinking it wasn't, that it was kind of gross. But I remember we went to Brooklyn, that place.
We're actually staying at a different place than we did last time. I noticed, because the place we stayed at last time I did notice it was there too, but it was actually even more money. But the place we're staying at, we've never been to before.
Are you going to bring games?
Yeah, I was going to bring the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Nice.
I can't bring like a ton of games, but I bring that. And I recently bought the figures for it.
Oh.
So we can play with actual figures instead of the paper guys.
Oh, cool.
You'll have to let me paint them sometime.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can paint them by tomorrow, but.
No, but.
Another time.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Those little paper ones, like the ones from Candyland, that's got the little plastic on the bottom.
I love those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. From the same company, I've donated to the campaign to get the House of 1,000 Corpses game made, and I keep getting updates, and I'm not sure when exactly I'll get it, but I'm very excited for that. That
should be fun too.
Because they got tons of money, didn't they? Like,
yeah. And I got all the extra stuff, so I'll be getting the figures for it. And it was cool because as it made more money, they introduced more characters. Because originally it was it was Otis, Captain Spaulding, Baby, and then since then they've added the uncle, and they added Karen Black's.
I love it when they do that. Like the more
Firefly.
they make, the more guys will throw
Tiny.
out at you.
You can be Tiny. And in this one, because in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you're the survivors, you're the victims, and you try to avoid being killed. In the House of 1,000 Corpses, you actually play the Firefly family, and you try to avoid the police and track down and kill people.
That's pretty cool.
You're in the house.
Isn't the Texas Chainsaw one the one we did play? Because that was great. Cool.
Yeah, we had played it once, so I thought it'd be fun to play again. And if Craig makes it out and his son, I mean, we can try to experience it with multiple people.
Oh yeah, that's always a blast.
Yeah, he's bringing I don't know if he said the Alien game. Yeah, I mean we played it, but he's not played it yet, and he bought it. So
cool. Now I think there were was that one of the ones where there was two of them?
There is. So I'm not sure which he has. If he has the one I have, or if he has, because the one I have is the early one, which was limited, and then they put out a more mass marketed one. So I'm not sure which one he has. And I don't know if they may have the same gameplay, but slightly different games. I'm not sure.
Throwback games that would be fun to play. I'd love to play. What was it, Dungeon and the Awful Green Things from Outer Space.
I have a complete Awful Green Things game.
Oh, that game was always so much fun.
I probably have
Dungeon. The one that had a figure of a Draculich.
No,
the Dungeon game. It may have later, like the original one. I think was there 4 characters, and then I think there was a beholder in the dungeon, and then I remember if you shot the shambling mound with the lightning bolt, it would grow.
Yeah. They re-released that a few times, so maybe they did put out one later on with it.
Yeah, they may have.
That would have been in like 30 years ago. So.
Yeah, we
I
had
was-
the real old one from like the 70s. So
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah, it
a-
was, I think like early 80s maybe or something
Yeah.
like
It was
that.
like all little squares, and you'd move around, and
Yeah, you
yeah.
got the little chits or whatever they called them, and you
Mhm.
move them around.
And Awful Green Things was originally a game in Dungeon Magazine or Dragon. I'm not sure which one.
Dragon Magazine, right?
Our
So it was
library
in-
used to have Dragon magazine, and there was another one. There was Dragon, and there was
The
another.
Dungeon. There's
Dungeon
Dragon
came
and
out a little
Dungeon.
later. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
And so
That was
Awful Green
true.
Things was a game in the middle, and so the board, like you know, it was like the centerfold, like you pop it out and then had the little shit. And then they released it, you know, as a box, which is I have the box one, and it's
I forget
really
who did
fun.
the artwork on it, but it was really good. It was real kind of big fist style. It was really neat.
Yeah. So one player's the Awful Green Things,
Mhm.
and then the other people are you know the members of the ship. And so it's like there's a robot and there's different people. It's very alien-esque. There's an alien on the ship. And the Awful Green Things is what they're called. So they start as eggs, and then they hatch, and then they can grow into the adults. And then also, like, if you start killing them, they can blow up and they turn into fragments. And then each of the fragments they turn into bigger ones. So sometimes, like, trying to kill them, like, does not result well if they blow up into like 5 fragments, and then each one of those grows into another
Like
one.
Gremlins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you got to try to either eliminate all the Awful Green Things, which is not likely, or get to the escape hatch and get the hell out of the spaceship. It's
We
very
have
fun.
a full compliment for all of us. Thank you, Susie.
Ah, Susie, this sexy Susie Warax here. Annabelle is always so dang beautiful. Neil and Troy, you all look handsome as always. Well, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
You wished me a happy birthday yesterday. Susie's great. We love Susie here.
Clearly.
On my weird little story from last week. So when you're on the Cape, go to the Old Yarmouth Inn.
Oh.
And if you can, established in 1696.
Wow.
And
the year
they have
Troy was born.
multiple rooms in there, exactly. And we happened on Valentine's Day, we happened to get into the red room of the Old Yarmouth Inn. And that's where the ghost is.
Red room.
The ghost dwells in the red room.
Damn.
Cool. What's the story of this ghost? Can you tell us a tale?
Well, it's kind of cool because I knew nothing about it. But Joe Donwick, who used to work at the school with me, he bought the place. And so it's kind of neat having somebody that own like a fine dining establishment. It's pretty cool. And so he told us the tale that I guess for hundreds of years that room supposedly and nobody says that it's haunted, but that a ghost is in there, and just the ghost of I guess a young girl that died at a young age. And so it's also, they have this big ass fireplace in there. There's only probably 5 tables, so it's really a neat little room. The flooring might be original flooring, so it's not quite level, and it's really like naughty pine flooring. It's pretty neat.
The way houses should be.
Exactly. And this was, I think, it must have been like an old timey inn, and I don't know if it was just, I don't really know a lot of the history of the place, but he was telling me about, or B and I, about the ghost in the room itself. And that's why a lot of people like to dine in there. And I gotta say, maybe because it's such an old room, or maybe because of the fireplace, but there's a lot of weird shadow effects that happen in that room. And I'm like, I could definitely see this being like a haunted room. It's pretty cool.
So if you were a ghost, you'd go to that room.
That would be the spot. And I dug it because nobody said it was haunted, just that it had a ghost in it. And
That is
all right, I
really
can get behind that.
Yeah. I've never heard about
There
that.
is fantastic. So
It's
go
really
there if you're
interesting.
ever down there.
Is it beautiful New England food?
Oh, it's
Beautiful
amazing.
Fish things and prime
Yeah.
ribs and
Yeah, they do all kinds of fun
scallops
stuff.
and oh my god.
I think it was voted in the Cape Cod Times as like the top dining establishment on the Cape.
Wow.
So
I
props to Joe.
can't afford to go
Yeah, well,
top dining.
they do have a neat thing there. If you go before 6, they have instead of like the prefixed dining, they have the pre-6 dining, and so you get like a 3-course thing for between 30 and like $45, depending on what you want.
That's pretty
And
reasonable.
not a
for
bad deal at all.
food.
Yeah.
Yep. No,
Susie, any of y'all been able to explore Old Town San Diego? The whole town is built on an unnamed burials, and there's a little house that gives ghost tours. And this little girl passed away by accidentally clotheslining herself on the laundry rope. Damn, in the yard. Rumor has it the place is cursed. I believe that's where Susie is from.
Wow. I have never been to San Diego.
Nope, me
No,
either.
I haven't either.
Yeah. Been to San
Have you been there, Susie? And a friend on X, Johnny Carson, not you know the Johnny. Well, I guess he is the Johnny Carson, but he had sent this thing as interesting. If we've ever been to Clinton Road in New Jersey, it's a haunted road.
Really?
And
Yeah,
so that sounds pretty neat. A haunted road.
Yeah, Clinton Road is located in West Milford, Passaic County, New Jersey. Runs in a generally north. Yeah, we don't care about that. The road. Anyway, it's let's see. Here we go. The road and the land around it have gained notoriety over the years as an area rife with many legends of paranormal occurrences, such as sightings of ghosts, strange creatures, and gatherings of witches, Satanists, and the Ku Klux Klan.
Those are strange creatures.
Yeah. It is also rumored that professional killers dispose of bodies in the surrounding woods. I guess probably mafia. With one recorded case of this occurring.
Wow. And what is this place called? Oh,
Clinton Road in New Jersey. A lot of bad things have happened on that road.
Road.
Let's see. Julie's here. Julie's done the ghost tour.
Oh, the San
Amazing
Diego
effects artist Julie Hapney in San Diego. Yeah.
Julie's cool. I'm a big fan.
You'll be helping out at Arbor Day. Susie, yes, it's beautiful, sad but beautiful town from the 1800s. Lots of original buildings. I used to go for walks down there. They also have a very old cemetery from the bodies that could be named, and all wooden grave markers. That's always interesting. The cemetery near me that we used the Ouija board. It was the bodies when they built the Cape Cod Canal, they had flooded, and so they're not all under the right tombstones.
It's so sad. That guy got separated from his wife. It's very tragic.
And the guy who used, I don't know if he still is, because he was really old when I knew him, and I haven't seen him for a long time. But the guy that used to be the caretaker there, he said that he never believed ghosts or anything like that until he took over, and he claims that he's seen, like, from one morning to the next, tombstones moved all the way across the cemetery, and like you could see the drag marks. And he's also saw cigar smoke, where he said you could smell and you could see it, and no one was there. It would just be coming up out of.
Is this the guy, Troy? Is this a guy you know?
No.
No, not a guy you know.
Oh, you're muted, Troy.
He lived across the street, the guy that I knew.
Got it. What'd the guy across the street know?
He said that he actually had an apparition in his kitchen one night.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if he had been maybe hitting the bottle a little bit, but you know. But Bobcat, he had claimed that I think it was a young Asian boy that was like in his kitchen, didn't say
Wow.
anything, and just
Well,
hung out there
interest-
for a
you know,
while.
actually, that's who built the canal. Was
Right.
mostly like
Really?
Asian immigrants.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
which is pretty
basically
wild.
like slave labor. Yeah.
Wow. That's sad. So that little kid is like, can you? Oh,
Yeah.
someone got
But
to
he
be.
said he
running
didn't
that
say
wall.
anything, and he just stood there and like looked across the way, and so I
Looking for his parents.
it could be.
So sad.
I had asked Bob if he had talked to him, but he said no. He just kind of left him alone and went and got like something to drink and left him, just do his thing.
I think all of us in our time have had enough to drink and not seen ghosts.
That's
Right.
true. That's true. I've never seen
Yeah,
one.
this is the guy I know. I haven't seen him a long time because I used to go to the Sagamore post office to send packages, but I don't anymore. I used to always see him there, and that is Don Ellis.
Okay.
And he was actually on Sci-Fi once talking about the cemetery, and here's an
that's
interview
pretty
with
neat.
him. This is from 2007. So, like I said, I haven't seen him for a long time, so I don't know if he's still doing it or not. And he was an older guy then. He's a really nice guy, though.
I can't remember, Troy, if you'd said that you had ghostly experiences before. I don't-
No, I never have.
Mm.
One of those things I've always wanted to.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it was 1909 when they built the canal, and that's when they flooded all the resting
Wow.
places and had to move them back.
See, it was weird because I always wondered why like half of Sagamore is on your side of the bridge and the other half's on the other side. And it's because that was all Sagamore before they built the canal. So kind of makes sense. I sent you guys the whole story behind the old Yarmouth Inn over at the Arbor Day Facebook
Oh,
page.
okay.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
was
I
going to
also
send it
sent-
on the messenger, but I don't know how to do that on here on my
Okay.
phone.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You said it to the page, not to the.
Yeah,
I'll go grab it.
I
Yeah.
can find it.
it's kind of long. It's probably something you'll have to read later, I think.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of interesting. It's like the whole haunted Cape Cod thing, and they talk about the old Yarmouth Inn.
There was a witch near where I grew up. Like a legit, there's a story of this woman who is, let me find it. Because I don't mean it's a legit witch that, but it's a person who was mistreated by the locals. Let's see.
It's real quick. I said earlier about I use old school notepad. This is my setup, and so I've got the two screens, and over on the right, see, I've got the notepad on the side there with my notes for the interview next to the.
Jeez. But that notepad, it goes down at least. So does it have paragraphs? It has paragraphs.
You can set it up however you want it.
Yeah.
Do you have a glow stick in the middle there?
No, I have lights here
All right.
to give myself a little
I
bit.
just saw this green glowy stick. I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. I dig it.
That's my deal. I got the I've got over here at the currently have these red and I have these green. I actually don't know where here it is. It would be distracting, but I could like do this. And that I can make them strobe.
Ooh.
No, please don't.
Yeah, that's freaky.
I can make them flash.
Ooh.
But yeah, so I got them green and red.
That's your DJ like sweet grease setup, huh?
Exactly.
All right.
And for people wondering, sometimes people like, oh, you still got Christmas stuff lit, but this is we've got this is St. Patrick's Day tinsels up.
Oh.
A little early, but what the hell?
I
What
want
am I
me
looking
gold.
up? Oh, Arbor Day. What was that, Troy?
I wants me gold.
Exactly. Have you seen the new shirt?
I have. I love it.
There's a new. It's on Amazon. The new 8-bit. I want me gold.
Why is he green?
Who?
Leprechaun.
Because he's a friggin' leprechaun.
He's not green though.
I like to make him how I want to make him. I think it's
Fair enough. Now this is way too long of a story. It's very long about Eunice Goody Cole, born in 1600 and died in 1680.
What's only fair, the one I sent you guys is pretty long too.
She's been portrayed, I'll get some of these things, portrayed as a foul-tempered misanthrope imbued with magical powers.
Ooh.
In modern times, she has been variously feared and pitied and has achieved minor cult status as a witch and renowned victim of a cruel belief system. The truth is, the facts of Goody Cole's existence present themselves like the prison she was so often in, dark, windowless, and having a heavily barred door to further inquiry. So let's see. She basically is just like a mean woman, and they don't like it. So let's see. She was set in stocks and admonished, whipped for various infractions of the law. Much of it had to do with bad relations with her neighbors. So they're just like, shut up, woman, and smacked her around. And let's see.
See, if I thought somebody was a witch that lived next door, I would bring them fruit and be as nice as humanly possible. Like,
first trial for witchcraft. 26 witnesses testified at her first trial for witchcraft held in Boston. The main evidence brought against her was the witch marks discovered on her body at her first whipping. The reason for the whipping seems to have been related to her involvement in the death of a possibly deformed child. Witnesses also implicated her in the death of a bedridden man, said she had killed the cattle through demonic agency, and that she had an uncanny knowledge of private conversation. She was convicted of a lesser charge, whatever that was, and was in prison. And then she went back, calling her neighbors despicable names. She was again whipped and sent back to prison.
wow.
Then her husband died and tried to get out, was able to get out, unable to abide by the terms of release, which is probably shut up. She was sent back to prison for a third time, coincidentally on the morning after she had been observed discoursing in her house with the devil himself.
Whoa.
Her land was all taken. She became a ward of the town and paid a yearly charge to keep her incarcerated. That sucks. 8 years later, over 70 years old and homeless, she was freed from prison. When she turned to town, they put her in a cottage near the Beaning House and grudgingly provided her with wood and food. Let's see. Trouble started up. Oh, I thought that was all the first trial. Second trial, a whining pup in the meeting house, threats made to the night's watchman, and the enticing of a 9-year-old girl. The last offense was deemed witchcraft, and in 1693, Eunice was again put on trial in Boston. John Sanborn and Nathaniel Weir, the prosecutors, bringing in decades-old evidence, ring out a conviction. After all their hard work, jury stubbornly refused to find her legally guilty. She went back to town. Nothing more was heard. And then she was accused of being a witch again, for which she was locked in leg irons and held in a local prison. A month later, she died, and a legend was born. It goes into like her alliance with the devil, reputation as a fearsome witch. The young people of that day delighted in antagonizing her with tricks concerning her death. After a few days of not seeing her out and about, the townspeople plucked up the courage enough to break in the house and found her dead. They buried her and drove a stake into the grave with a horseshoe attached to prevent her from ever coming up again. And the person who was doing the history part said the little mound on the earth was pointed out to him as a veritable grave of the once powerful Eunice Cole. And then it goes into more really interesting stuff.
Damn.
So, right? I mean, I shouldn't be happy and excited about it because it's truly horrible.
Right.
But it's
That was a while back, though, so not much you can do about it.
I don't think there's too many witches who had a fucking stake put through.
Oh, that's a crazy one.
With a horseshoe on it. That's special.
Yeah, like I said, I'd be the worst neighbor. I'd be as nice as humanly possible in case the woman really was a witch. And then it's you wake up and your testicles haven't turned into acorns, so she probably isn't a witch. So leave the old lady alone, okay? Did your wife turn into an apple core? No, then shut up, okay?
But she was mean, Troy.
I know a bunch of mean old women.
So this is horror related. This is a gift from Jason to me for my birthday.
Oh,
really sure.
Horror related, right?
Wow.
Really
okay. You meant
some naughtiness going
what?
on in there.
Wait, what's happening?
No, what is so weird is all the other monsters are just being monsters, but then the creature and the mummy
are clearly getting down.
Although I don't know, there's a pretty naked
ghost
demon chick there.
Oh no! Look, the ghost has got a heart on.
I did see that too.
Oh yeah, it looks like the bride might be doing something there.
There's some things
happening
there.
I don't know what's. Oh yeah, there's the demon lady.
The demon chick.
Even better.
Yeah, is Freddy just watching? Or?
Blow it up, man.
How about on the flip side, on the back? Are there more things on the back? Or
it's the same design on the back.
Okay.
All right, so that ghost is sperming.
Well, oh yeah.
That's what I'm seeing. I could be wrong.
Well, I think you're seeing. I think you're seeing the white there is in the hair of the bride, I believe.
Well,
but
where's the rest of her?
Her head is down. Well, she's hidden in the coffin, but you see her head in front of Dracula. So she.
Yeah.
Oh no, I see her. She's bent over, but she's the same color.
Oh yeah, as the background.
Oh wow!
Right.
And there's a hand on her ass.
Yeah, we've got things
it is
healing her up.
Right? Yeah.
What else is happening? I'm curious. What else is going on in here?
We got the Grim Reaper. He's not.
I don't
really
know what's
doing
happening with him. I think he's got binoculars or something.
He's doing something with a cat. There's a cat there. The cat's doing something to itself.
Oh my god! Is it licking itself?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god!
We got the witch.
Scarecrow guy.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know what his deal is.
Oh, we got the witch and the scarecrow.
Where's the witch?
Oh god!
Oh, there's the witch. Okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah, he's making a woo face.
Yep.
Then we got the witch is like.
Too many of the characters have the same color as the
background.
That's
it's hard to see.
That other witch I didn't even notice until just now.
Wow.
Yeah, because
the one on top of the mummy.
Yeah, the witch is riding the mummy's face. Then not only is see.
Yeah, because you see there's
dang.
all the witch, they're purple, so they blend in with the background.
And then look underneath the creature and the mummy.
Oh my goodness.
So the mummy's not as dry as people might think.
Yeah. But I don't think is the headless horseman, does he have anything happening?
No, I think he's just riding around.
He's just
what about the dude above him that's got a flame ass?
Yeah, it looks like he's. You know what? Well, I think he's Freddy, but you know what? The only thing that's going on there, I think he's got dildos instead of claws.
Oh, okay. And he might have his hand on the demon chick's head.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but her head's too low, unless he's really Well,
And
yeah.
well, he's
got
also on
going
fire,
on.
so who
Yeah.
are we to say?
Yeah.
Oh my
I don't know if we're missing anything else here.
I'm sure we are. There's a bunch of
There's
stuff.
something happening with the headless horseman. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
there
We gotta
has to
figure this
be.
out. We got to
Maybe
figure it out.
just yeah, I'm
Let's
trying
solve
to.
it.
I think you could see him better on the front.
Everybody else is pretty perverted, so he's got to be doing something.
Yeah, something's going on. What?
Hmm.
There's the headless horseman.
Huh.
Huh. Is he's got the Wolfman chain up like some kind of S&M deal.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's got a ball in his mouth.
Oh yeah, and he is connected to the
Oh,
horseman's.
Wolfman. Okay, yeah,
all right.
you're right.
Damn. So he was doing something.
All right. Well, I was feeling bad for him if everybody else has something
Yeah.
going on.
So join my OnlyFans, and you can. I'll be modeling these.
The lid was the highlight, though, of the birthday gifts, I
Yeah.
think, in my opinion.
I genuinely like the hat.
Well, are you gonna share it with the world?
I have it. I don't have it downstairs. I could go grab it quick.
I think
There's
You were
also
gonna
this
show
shirt.
videos, weren't you?
I do love that, too.
I'm not gay, but $20 is $20. I like the other shirt better. The other shirt is spread cheeks, not hate. Actually, I like
That's the best.
I wore it during In Your Head last night.
I think Minton bought everything from, like,
Spencer's?
RuPaulCharles.com. I think
Well,
that's where-
apparently what he's done the last 2 years is he sees me posting these Facebook ad of the day posts, and then he goes and buys all this stuff. So,
Mhm.
you know, today I put up Facebook ad of the day. It was like this 4K camera. I thought was a really funny ad.
Mhm.
that one cracked you up. So next year,
man, imagine this.
I used to do that, but now I don't have all the crazy ones anymore. I don't get.
I
those
get
ads.
crazy ones every day.
I used to. And I'd
Some
be
of them I
posting
wonder how. Some of
weird.
them I wonder how they get posted. If I'd post them, they probably get like. Banned.
oh yeah,
Right? Facebook. When are they gonna have? We need a good alternative to Facebook, not something that's just like Twitter or just like Instagram. Someplace where people can chat and congregate as a group. That's part of the beauty of Facebook.
just a cool.
Yeah, this was
hangout, but-
one of my ads yesterday. This is from Temu. This is a Temu ad.
Wow.
You can literally get anything on Temu, apparently.
Wow.
It's very festive.
Yeah.
Wow. Is
I
it
don't know
like
if
this
that's
Christmas sale, the leftover stock?
I don't know if it's something, if that's really something you want to buy from
Don't
Temu.
show Minton that one.
Too late. He's watching it right now.
All right, so here's the hat. Here's a good picture of the hat and the shirt. The spread cheeks, not hate shirt.
That was a great shirt.
I actually do think that's a funny shirt. I would not wear it around town, but I would wear it on the show. Look very
I love
happy.
that lid. That is the best lid. Just the fact that those spikes are all metal and stuff on it, like those are
Whoa.
rocking.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
and
thought
it's
it was just like bedazzly, but it's spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Shit.
spiked and
That's
it's got jewels, and then it's got like all different colors. It's a little hard to see there, but it's like all. Yeah, it's a very cool hat. Honestly, I like
Wow.
it.
I dig it.
It looks like it would be expensive.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a nice hat. I dig
Wow.
it.
Shows he really cares.
Yeah, the
If you're DJing at like an S&M club, boom, there you go.
which I do often.
Yep.
Now
He's
the
in charge.
pants, the pants are I think they're made for a child.
Which
I
makes
don't
it
know
even
what
more
who-
bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know who would. I'm gonna have to call Shuli. Maybe we'll find out, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I
Maybe
tried to
it's
get them
war.
on. I could barely get them over like my ankles.
Brings new meaning to junk in the trunk right there.
Susie was a big fan of that
Right.
photo.
I bet. But maybe it's made
Yeah.
for like, a dwarf or something.
That could be. It could be very.
Because you
thin
said
dwarf.
like the legs are only
No,
like
the legs
a
are
foot
only
long.
about this long
you
too. They're
know,
very-
this is not a slam at Asians, but Asians are smaller.
Oh,
And that's
good
why a lot
point.
of times
Good
you
point.
get clothes and they're small. And you're like, what the fuck? This is
Trump
like a
might
large.
be smaller than too, though.
Yeah. So they got shorter legs and they fit in the elephant.
I don't know what this link is, Julie. On here, I can just pop up the link. I can't actually click on it, so I'm not sure what it's for.
Can you copy it?
Not
you
from
copy
here.
it.
Not from here. Not from here. No.
Oh. All right, I'll send it to you on Facebook.
All right. Bunch of sickos from Jonathan Jackson. So yeah, ton of movies and shorts will be playing
Oh shit! What did I just do?
at
You guys
dead
will
of
have to bring
winter
back a
this
report.
weekend. Lots of cool vendors. I like long sleeve horror shirts, so I'm gonna be on the outlook for them. Last year I got a Jack Frost one, which is pretty rocking.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I feel like I do remember that. I was there, so I should remember.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've
you don't
seen the
pay
shirt. I
attention
love
to
the
me.
shirt.
Mm-hmm.
We do have I don't people send trailers, but I don't know. Should we play one?
This is the one that Julie sent?
Oh, so what's this? Is this a trailer?
I don't know. Could be.
No, it's the music.
Oh.
I like it. Mother 8. Crazy. So yeah, I probably can't play it. I'll probably get like music is very hard on YouTube. And now it's rough on Spotify. We've been getting a lot of all the old mixtapes have been taken down off Spotify.
Oh, no way.
At first I thought the first one they took down was the necrophilia one, and I thought it was like for the content.
Oh,
but it isn't. It's for music. You can't have podcasts that are music only. They even took down I even labeled it as a trailer, and it's the theme song by itself, and they took that down. So you can't have just music only on Spotify anymore.
What if you did the
even
mix?
If you own the music?
What if you did the mix and you introed it like Johnny Fever? And
Yeah,
like,
maybe. I think I did on some of those mixtapes. So I don't know.
Johnny
but
Fever.
yeah, they're getting sticklers here.
Yeah, well, they're figuring it out. There's these things that are
yeah, I'm sure it's just the bots that find it and just like this is mostly
there's decentralized things are coming our way so that there isn't shit like that. Like there is a decentralized, basically a YouTube, which you probably should start and just claim a name
on some other channel. Yeah.
Because that's the way of the future, is all of us actually having freedom, because there are smart people out there, coders, who are like, fuck this. Like the people who Trump's fucking social security.
Yeah, I mean, I have without your head on pretty much all the things, but so if there's anything new, let me know. I mean, I do have a without your head Rumble. I never post anything there, but I just have it just in case we'd ever.
Yeah.
The hell's a Rumble?
It's the thing is, it gets a bad rap because people like think of it as like the home for all the right wing like stuff, but it's not just that though. There's lots of stuff on there. There is that too.
I've never heard of it
because
before.
anytime you have a place where it is like considered the free speech, whatever, it is going to have people on there that you don't want to associate with. But
oh yeah,
that's not all.
Get that anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see.
That was suggested to do the severed limbs. I still have to find a severed limbs to do the latest one, but I'll think about that when we get back from Dead of Winter. We'll reset that up, and then we're gonna get the campaign ready for Arbor Day.
Very nice. Very nice. Arbor Day. Find it.
Christian Cortez has joined the cast of Arbor Day.
Yeah. He's a cool dude. I really like him.
Yep. Sweet guy. I like him a lot. I was sad I wasn't on the other week when he made the scene.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. I found it.
I won't say who, but this someone messaged me today. I won't
Mhm.
say who it is. But I thought, wow, this is a real. I've never had anyone ask to come on the show quite the same way.
Can you tell us more or no?
Yeah, I'm
Really?
just grabbing. I want to get the exact quote, but I won't say who it is, just in case they don't
Okay.
want people to know. But he said, "Hey mate, just got out of prison, and sorting
Oh.
out first interviews. I wanted to see if you wanted me on." So I was like, "Well, out of
Wait, I know this
curiosity,
person.
why were you in prison?"
Oh, so you didn't
Yeah.
know why? Okay. You were surprised by this.
Yeah. I never.
wow.
No one had ever asked me to come on the show because they were.
I
just
think
got
you'd
out of
have
prison.
to let them on just
Right.
because of that. You know,
Yeah.
that is a great
Yeah. That's
approach.
pretty great that you get out of prison. One of your first things
Yeah,
that
like
you
I'm one to
decide
get on
to do.
without your head.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
For
Like,
my
you
first
know,
meal, I will, but I really want to be on Without Your Head podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
they could want some nookie or a good steak or, you know, something to drink, but like, boom,
He
one
was
on
fat.
without your head.
He did tell me he was found not guilty on 9 of his charges, but 2 of
9 of his
the
233.
Right?
2 of the charges for perverting the course of justice, they found him guilty of, and he was given 4 years in prison.
Wow.
Wow.
I wonder what Dr. John Brady would think of him.
I don't know. But he served 18 months of that, but he's out now. He's a free man, or maybe he's on parole. I don't know exactly.
Maybe escaped.
Yeah.
He didn't say he was let go, did he? He said he was
out.
Just got out.
He
They
broke
did the file in his cake, and he took him 18 months, but he got the hell out of there.
I don't know what the other charges were that he was found not guilty of, but
He crawled through, I can't remember how many Andy Dufresne,
exactly.
like, you know.
I believe in giving people second chances.
You serve your time. That's what it's supposed to be. You
Right.
serve your time,
Right.
and then you come back into society. That's the
These
whole
were-
idea.
These were some more underwear from Jason. These ones are not whole.
Oh, push,
Push.
push. I don't think that's something that's supposed to get pushed.
No.
And then
that's
this
probably
is
not great.
this is not in English. Like it's supposed to be in
Yeah.
English, but the words don't really make much sense.
Maybe on the backside.
The back
Insert
says
here to play.
They got to
Yeah.
flip those around. You can't.
Insert-
Don't push the front.
I know
Some
I'm
people
trying to read them
Yeah.
first. But yeah, it does. It says insert. You're right, Trey. Insert here to play.
Oh, okay. Now that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell is he trying to
Oh,
say here?
Push.
Well,
Maybe people backing it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he want to share a room with you next time?
Now, who was this? Jason sent you this one?
Yeah, Jason.
He's waiting for that hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
Jason.
Yeah. So if anyone wants one of, I guess I can't give away his gifts.
Do that.
I
Gifts.
was gonna sign them, but yeah, I can't get.
No, they're gifts.
But if you do
You know how
want a
people do
pat,
frames for shirts, like a frame, a box frame, and put shirts in it to preserve them.
right.
You could do like a shadow box for your undies.
There you go. Yeah,
I don't think he'd be offended if you give away the ring or sell the
I
ring.
know you're showing the fucking ring.
No.
Huh?
Fuck this ring.
What is wrong with it?
It's Donald Trump ring.
I thought it was like Cousin Erie at first from like the old Warren mags, and I was like, I kind of dig it, and then it wasn't. So.
It's kind of funny. It's a silver ring, but his hair's gold on it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. And where is that one from?
Jason.
No, but where did he get it?
Oh, I don't know, honestly.
God, I hope on Temu. Don't give them.
Yeah, that's true. I hope
It's-
we didn't
it's-
pay a lot
it's
for
too
that.
big for me too. Oh, I might put my middle finger or thumb or something.
So then you could be like, "Ah."
We could add a couple of little fangs and just say that it's Cousin Erie.
Yeah, there you go.
That's better. Or you could throw it in the toilet.
Yeah.
All right. Did we want to? There's a lot. Should we go over these new movies or just tell people to go check out?
People got to check it out because we have a day. I'm going to be doing a lot of driving. I'm going to go to work tomorrow and leave right from there, and I got to pack and all that. So no, for me, you guys can.
No, I agree. I haven't eaten supper or anything yet either, but I do want to say, Monkey is out. I'd like to see it.
Oh, did it come out today? Oh,
yeah.
All right, I will definitely have to see that.
And one I really wanted to put over is Little Bites by I thought this movie was great. I'm a big fan. It premieres on Shudder this week. Our interview went live yesterday with Chrissy Fox, the star, and Spider-One from Power Man 5000.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Great. It was great. We were supposed to be a very short interview, but they gave me over 20 minutes.
Oh, nice.
I think they enjoyed being on the show, so that was cool.
Cool.
And check it out. Really good interview. I liked it a lot. And I really liked the movie anyway, but honestly, talking to them made me see the movie in a different light. Made me like it even more.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of negative reviews, I have to say, and I'm surprised. I thought it was very creepy, well made. A lot of people say it's boring. There's not like nonstop killing or whatever, but that doesn't really matter to me.
Boring, schmoring, I say.
Yeah, the vampire is super creepy.
Because as far as I recall, he's Rob Zombie's brother.
Yeah.
And I wonder if...
And I didn't know that until Nasty Neil told me.
I wonder if people are expecting a Rob Zombie style movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very not.
Like
it's
a real in your face kind of thing or something.
It's a very 70s horror movie.
Okay.
I
Rosemary's Baby or something like that. Like, yeah, it's a... I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Now I'm interested. Very interested.
It's primarily
it's on Shudder like next week, you say?
Today. I mean, today or tomorrow.
Today. All right.
Maybe tomorrow, the 21st, so tomorrow. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
So check it out. I highly recommend it. That was great. So this isn't a spoiler. I mean, it's in the name and it's really right at the beginning of the movie. This set up the movie and right away I was like, oh, this has me interested. It's a woman. She has something in this one room. She goes in there, and it's this kind of pathetic looking creature, vampire. They never say exactly if it's a vampire or what, but vampiric thing, and is like, I'm hungry, and she clearly has been feeding it for a long time. Her arms are covered in scars, and she goes in there and first she's like, oh, I think my arms are, my arm is it's getting infected. And he's like, no, it's fine. And so that's how the movie starts, her feeding this creature.
I'm already fascinated. This is...
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Yeah, that was a good sale.
Yeah,
and that must be the title, huh? Like she's taking like little bites from her.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's very creepy. And you find out, as it goes on, you find out why and things.
I'm sold.
Yeah. I highly recommend it. And they've made a few movies together. So that's his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I need to check out I think this is their third feature they made together. So I'd like to check out.
Oh,
the
wow.
other one.
I never knew he even made any movies, so that's
very
awesome.
similar path to his brother. Makes these horror movies his wife, but there I thought this was great. It's already on my list for best movies of the year. I really liked it a lot.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm loving the look of that.
Wow, look at that arm. Ew.
And Barbara Crampton.
Really?
You had me. Yeah, come on. Chaz Bono. That's awesome.
Chaz Bono's in it.
Wow.
But if you don't know who Bonnie Aarons is, that's the nun. And so
sweet.
That's right.
It's pretty cool to see her in a movie, no makeup and no not in like a costume of any kind. She plays the woman's mother.
Nice.
So it's not a huge role, but she's in it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to that one then.
All right. So I think and there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. That and of course Humanoids from the Deep. Special 4K.
Oh.
I'm a huge fan.
Love me some Humanoids from the Deep.
Yeah. So next week we'll be back with Zach Amico will be on the show from a lot of trauma films and from the upcoming Our Man Funk.
Oh, funk has really blossomed into a whole different thing.
Oh yeah,
Very
And
kind of digging the vibe of that too.
Lisa Gay's going to be coming on soon too. She's also in Our Man Funk, and she's in a ton of like 90s trauma movies. And I found a really interesting video about her where she's saying it sort of jokingly because you could tell she was serious. Who's the porn guy that's in prison right now?
The
head
I am
song.
not up on.
Ron Jeremy.
Oh, you would know him when I say his name. Jeremy, Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
Why is he in prison?
For
What do you do?
sexually harassing? It's like sexually assaulting people.
Dude, he's literally getting paid for that. Wow.
I know you. Yeah.
But she's basically saying like he was trying to get with her, and she's like, "No, I'm sorry." But she was saying it in joke. But I think there's a lot of reality to how she was saying.
Probably
it, so
was.
I'm curious about that. But she's been in tons of stuff. Very interesting woman. I think she was in all the Toxic Avenger sequels, not in the original one, but in the sequels. And also, he confirmed Brett Culpepper will be coming on the show, who did the effects for The Stuff.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
Amazing.
And Reanimator.
That's so amazing.
Just gets better and better there. Yeah.
The 40th anniversary of both movies. And they're also significant to him because that is the year he quit effects. The last movie he did was Reanimator.
Wow. That's
Damn.
interesting.
And he told me because he was screwed over by the business for doing effects. So he left that, pursued acting and doing fighting choreography, which he's done for the last 40 years.
Oh, nice. So
Good for
it worked
him.
out. We got The Stuff and Reanimator, and he got to move on and have this totally different life.
Yeah, he's worked on Back to the Future 2, The
Nice.
Doors, Point Break, The Postman, all kinds of stuff.
Sounds like quite the story.
Yeah. Looking forward to talking to him.
So so I'm going to send him some stuff to jar his memory so he can, because he says 40 years ago and he left, FX, so he needs a little bit of, some ideas of what we talk about so he could remember. And I told him we're also happy to talk about everything since then, so it doesn't have to just be the stuff in Reanimator.
Stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I like The Stuff more than Reanimator.
I probably do too. I love both movies. The Stuff is probably more personal to me just because I probably think Reanimator is a better movie, but I think the stuff is something that I always I love. Friggin', that's like one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. The Stuff. I think
It's awesome. It's so.
I love them both. I don't think you can go wrong with either movie.
Reanimator has some kind of like sanity in it. Stuff has zero sanity.
Oh yeah,
well, right from the beginning when he sees the shit bubbling out of the ground.
He's like just eats it.
I love it. That's great. The Stuff and Basket Case were like two of the movies I was like a kid like, and no one was really like that I knew were like big fans of them. So, but I loved them. And then as you get, that is one good thing about the internet. It's not all horrible stuff. Is then you meet other people who also love this stuff. And Basket Case.
So great.
Reanimator always had its fan base.
Can't get enough.
The Stuff.
You know why they call me Mo? Because every time someone gives me money, I always want Mo. I
like Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Yeah, I tried to get him on the show actually, and this was years ago. I should try it again. I know he's getting up there, but
Garrett Morris.
Yeah, and at the time he said I got like it was his age and whatever, and said he was interested, but I didn't know at the time because I don't really watch like TV, but he was on the show Two Broke Girls. He was like a recurring character on that, so he was too busy. But that show's not on anymore, so maybe you do it.
Yeah, dude, reach out.
His portrayal was great in this is not horror, but I thought it was one of the best movies of last year. Is Saturday Night. which it's a movie about the very first episode of Saturday Night Live. And so it's all, all the characters, and
Yeah.
that movie
It
was
looked cool from the
great.
trailer.
That was one
I
of the,
thought it looked really good.
yeah, I thought it was one of the best movies I saw last year. I loved it.
Wow. Now I feel
I
like
think
I
it
that.
would make a really good like HBO series, because then you could follow the characters, I think, and
That would
maybe
be
not
kind
too
of cool.
yeah, and you could, as the seasons progress, maybe skip a few years, when you bring in some of the other cast members and stuff. But I love, and it's just about the first episode. It's everyone in it's great.
I gotta go.
All right. So we are gonna play us out here. Annabelle and I tomorrow will be heading to
Worcester
for Dead of Winter.
I want
also-
good stories. Tell me what's going down. Tell me the cool stuff. Give me the skinny on it.
Boom.
Times with no snow.
No snow.
Oh, and it looks like
That little
Lynn,
dance.
we're gonna have some of the original cast members Return of the Living Dead on the first week of March. Looks like
Wow.
Linnea Quigley, Tom Matthews, Beverly Randolph talking about their new movie.
Nice. Cool.
It is yeah. And a friend of the show, he just took over as a director of it. So anyway, we'll talk about that in the coming weeks.
Nice.
Until next time, this is Nasty Neil. This is Neil with Appeal.
I'm Terrible Troy.
Aren't you lovable, Troy, now?
I'm Lovable Troy.
I'm just Annabelle Lecter.
And this is Without
Your
Head.
Wow.